What's up, Internet? It is the Three Good Sirs show. I am, if you notice, we're missing someone here today. I am Matt, aka the Zero Knight. Over here we have Peter, Port of Entry. That's a sex joke, because he's a port of entry over there. And then, if you'll notice, Travis elongated and got surprisingly wider somehow.
He's fairly tall.
But got also way more hardcore. So this is our special guest, Shea Cuddles. That's not actually his last name,
Cuddles.
but he's so
like
cuddleable.
cuties.
Shea Cuties also is available. Shea, introduce yourself to the amazing people and let us know about you.
What's going on, party people? I'm, primarily console, but I'm here with internet and PC people anyway.
Yeah, but he likes games.
I'm Twitch games, and I like to party.
I like to party.
Basically that.
Anyways, we'll let the audience know a little bit about you. Your life or just your background experience with video games or whatever. Why are you even here on the show?
I've been playing video games since Nom.
Since Nom?
Since Nom.
Nom, basically.
Yeah. First system was Super Nintendo, and
Yes.
still have it.
My first system too. Yeah, boy!
Still have a suitcase full of...
What was your first Super Nintendo game?
Oh, that I can remember playing?
Sure.
Street Racing FX. They're little claymation cars. It was a pretty sweet game.
Mine was Killer Instinct. My mom was
Joe
great.
and Mac? Anybody? Not the first one is a good one that I
Yeah,
played.
whatever.
Joe and Mac was good.
So anyways,
It was good.
cool. Well, dude,
You
good
slay
to have you
dinosaurs.
on the show. Let's
super
get to know
stoked.
you a little bit better before we kind of dive into it. Why don't you tell us what's some of your favorite games of all time?
Favorite games? I mean,
Played the shit out of Borderlands.
recent games. Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, super stoked for Afterbirth in 3 days.
Fantastic, obviously.
Most played game easily Borderlands 2.
Borderlands.
Between PS3, PS4, I've platinumed it twice. Have 1,600 hours in
Hashtag
that
humble
game.
brag.
Humble brag.
Right.
Easy.
We
He also smells good, by the way. So
Yeah.
if you guys are
Thank you.
wondering,
Thank
he
you.
smells good.
I don't even remember what I'm wearing, to be totally honest. Whatever Jon
Dolce and
Snow
Gabbana.
from Game of Thrones is wearing.
Urine and
That.
sex smells.
Yeah,
He doesn't smell like pee,
the
guys. It's
sex
fine.
appeal, though.
So
from
what's
that.
your
Very
favorite
primal.
game of all time then? All time. Give
Oh,
us.
man.
Let us. This is how you get a look into the heart of a gamer.
I mean-
You ask what is their favorite game of all time.
All time.
And then you judge
And
them.
why?
That's super
You judge them
hard.
partially.
Yes, you judge them very harshly after they
You,
answer.
you know, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, that's a super fanboy answer," but Final Fantasy VII
Secretly,
holds
we're all fanboys.
holds a super special place in my heart just because it was.
That's not Travis. It's not Travis.
I'm-
Well, it is. He elongated,
I'm
Lindy.
a bit of a masochist because I like the Souls series.
Nothing wrong with that. No, but
Pain and torture.
Final Fantasy VII, it's the first RPG I ever played, and you know everyone's like, "Oh well, I mean, you're just one of those naysayers of all the rest of the Final Fantasy games."
No,
But I'm really not.
They're great. You're allowed to have a favorite, and your favorite is allowed to be 7.
Yeah, and-
Even though you're wrong, it's okay. You
But-
just don't have. You don't have to
No,
acknowledge that 10 is the
I-
best. It's just the truth.
The truth.
No,
The truth.
It
Don't
was-
ever say that in front of Lindy when she's in the channel. Well, it's brings up bad memories.
Oh.
So, anyways,
I'll
we
say
had
hello,
we had a really long discussion about it last week. But why don't you let us know what is your opinion of the remake? What are you thinking about it so far?
I'm excited for the remake. I'm sort of bummed that they're doing it in segments. I kind of wish it was one full game.
I'm there with you.
But I'm overall pretty excited.
Yeah. What are you gonna do if it's
What
disappointing?
What if at the end of all this they just release a all of them edition?
For $300.
And you're like, but I already bought all the segments.
But now I can get them all in one, and really all it would just be is a bigger
Just a
game
big-
case that
That's-
still has multiple
It's
discs.
kind of like
Right.
it's kind of like what they did with Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Yeah.
They were
See,
like,
that was
chapter,
a
here's
no-no.
the game.
See, the way I explain it
That was
is
a
I really hope that it has to be released on multiple. Like, I really hope that the reason they're doing that is because there's so much data that's going to be put into the game that it just can't fit.
Based off of what I've seen from the graphics engine, I can imagine.
It's possible.
Probably
If you took that graphics engine but slapped it over Final Fantasy VII, hey, who knows? Who knows? So anyways, but yeah, guys, this is Shea, good friend of ours. We were in a band together one time.
Yeah,
we played
for like
music.
a month.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
you
there
were
for like a
he
month.
was in it for like a month. We were in it for like
And then
half a year.
People got busy and
like a
we
year
were
and a half.
Was it?
young
Year and a
It
half?
happened.
We even played a show once, kind of, where we played
Whoa.
2 songs. And it was
one in like 3/4 songs.
yeah, 1 3/4 of a song. And it was great. And he screamed, and I screamed, and Squiddy screamed.
We all
You guys
screamed
might meet
for-
Squiddy in a week or 2,
He's cool.
possibly. He's all right.
He's a
He's a nerd.
No,
He's a freaking nerdling.
I retract that. He's just a nerd.
Yeah, he's just a nerd. He's not cool. If you're watching this, Squiddy, we don't think you're cool. Just kidding, bud.
Nerd.
Just kidding. So, anyways, guys, here's what's going on this week. We do not have an overall hierarchy discussion topic. Show maybe
We stumbled into something
yeah.
interesting. but-
Show maybe a little bit shorter, hour to hour and a half, most likely. We're still glad that any of you viewers are here hanging out. You're still welcome to throw questions down in the chatterino down there and let us know any discussion topics you guys have. Lindy, you're welcome to bring up Zoo Tycoon as many times as you like. Zoo Tycoon is going to come up in our very last
Yeah.
news story.
It's second only
most
to
likely.
Skate Park Tycoon.
Yeah,
Just
obviously.
saying.
Yeah, or a Disney Skate Adventure, if we're just going to talk about skate.
Well, I mean, that's a different genre, but
Yeah, but
it
still,
goes
it's
Disney
goats.
Skate Adventure.
If we're talking
Tony
goats,
Hawk series,
and we're talking goats later, towards the end of the show, we're talking goats.
We're talking Tony Hawk series before 5, right?
Well,
all of Tony Hawk
All
series.
of it.
Disney Skate Adventure. Tony
it's
Hawk.
yeah, like Disney Skate Adventure
Skate.
just did it, and they did it right.
The poopy Tony Hawk.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so-
Below the Skate series.
But anyways, we're just talking, different news stories from across the week, and we're gonna chat those.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any, opinions, outputs, about those games, feel free to
Yeah,
throw it in the
so
chat,
I think
or don't. Feel free to ignore us.
Most of our discussion
Whatever.
as far as news is, I hope you got COD fever, because
Yeah.
that's the news.
Yeah, our little transition in our first news story of the week. Let's talk Call of Duty. Let's talk Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Not sure if you guys have heard about it, but there's a game called Call of Duty. Kind of popular
Yeah, it's a
with
little bit.
people. Ever since they released it, Cheetos sales and Mountain Dew sales have
Doritos too.
exponentially
And,
fucking
like,
expanded. Let's talk
yeah.
about how terrible the Archer Knights and okay. Well, we'll talk about
We
Dark
can
Souls and
talk
we'll bring
about
that up.
Anne Orlando.
Yeah, we'll talk about
I got
Orlando. I already discussed that about you, but Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is a thing now, and it's, let me get this straight, Call of Duty in space, and that's really
That's
what it
appropriate,
is.
yeah.
It's appropriate, but
Well, like, it goes through cycles. We talked
Yeah.
about that the other week of like, oh, you got your modern shooter, your space shooter, your World War shooter, your modern.
got all of it.
They're just trying to do that
So
all in one.
We joked about it for so long, and eventually Activision was just like, fuck it, we will put it in space. It's in space now. You wanted that.
You wanted space. Not that you already had it in Doom, which is coming out in less
Yeah.
than a week, but
Yeah.
Halo,
But
Doom,
the thing that you
StarCraft.
might not have heard, and it's
Gamers
pretty
might have heard.
pretty easy to find. You just got to go on YouTube.
Alien Isolation.
Call of Duty
Yeah.
Infinite Warfare, the trailer for it, the official Activision trailer, is at this point officially the most disliked game
Boom.
trailer ever
Hitting
in the
more
history
dislikes
of
than the Five
anything
Bros of recent.
on YouTube. The most disliked game trailer of all time in YouTube history.
Is it really?
As of the writing of the Kotaku article, it had 447,000 dislikes. If you go look at it
Which
right
is a
now,
lot.
that's a lot. If you go look at it
A
right
lot.
now,
It's-
it's a little closer to 750,000 dislikes. Literally, I think the like to dislike ratio is around 80 to 20%.
Which I can't think of a reason as to why the Call of Duty community would just go and dislike all this, because they're probably still going to buy the game.
Oh,
It
they're
might even
they're
be
still going to buy
a
the game.
popular game.
It's
Maybe
going
we're
to
gonna
be
like it.
it's going to be a best-selling game. It's not going to flop.
Yeah, everyone knows that each one of those dislikes is really half of a pre-order.
Exactly.
It really is.
Most
They
of
click
those
that,
are
and then
to
with their
correlate
other
with
hand, they're
pre-order
dialing
sales.
GameStop on their
Yeah.
cell phone to say, "I'd like to pre-order Call of Duty Infinite Warfare."
Yeah, did
My
you
name,
dislike like YouTube videos?
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
This is
Yeah,
Jim.
I
This
did.
is not Terry Davis from Long Street, who just disliked me. Don't tell Activision on me. So every single one of those damn people is gonna pre-order it,
Hey.
or at least gonna buy it.
Or at
So
least
that
they'll at least red box it when
the point is not
It's
that.
available.
Maybe it's become
there.
a fad. Maybe we
Yeah,
pull it
I
up
don't know.
and give it a dislike ourselves.
Yeah, maybe. I'll
Maybe.
probably do that
Just
right after
to-
the show. I encourage you guys to
Now
open the
I'm a
video
part
right
of
now
something.
and go give it a dislike if you really want to.
Yeah,
if you want
to be a part of something.
Yeah, if you want to be, a conformist, go ahead and do that. But the thing is, and it's not because the game is not going to be good. It's not because they actually dislike the game. I think a big part of it is because, I guess, kind of the way that the game is being presented for a large portion of it. It feels, I don't know.
Moving forward from the general format of Call of Duty.
It's moving.
Advanced Warfare did that.
It's moving forward. A lot of what people have seen, so I don't know, and not to generalize or stereotype an entire audience, but the Call of Duty audience is kind of clean cut and dry. They want what they want, and they don't really want that much
And
more.
that's been good. But maybe people are getting tired of the whole release one or two games in a year.
In terms of how big of a leap Call of Duty has actually taken over the years, this is probably by far and large the biggest leap or the biggest departure.
I'd say it's probably going to be close to Black Ops 2 as far as their most popular.
I could see it being there.
They even mentioned that.
I could see it being there, but the big point is just that it's kind of a departure from the classic formula, and it's a formula that we know works, regardless of whether people are going to dislike other videos, or whatever. That's not the point. It's a formula.
Maybe this whole fad's coming along too, because in these articles it also states that you will not get the remastered Modern Warfare unless you
and we're going to talk about that.
And
we're going to talk about that. That is kind of
a bundle, and that's the only way you get
the
it.
way they're presenting the game. You're kind of
and maybe
leading.
That's why.
You're kind of leading into that. So let's go ahead and bring that article up. It's kind of but the way they're presenting it, Modern Warfare, if you didn't know, is being remastered. Now, we could look and say, well, Modern Warfare 2 is the one that really should have been remastered.
Maybe,
that's the one that everybody wanted.
Maybe
that's not directly the point.
Partly it's money. People are going to buy it.
They're going to do it.
Eventually. This is setting the precedent.
But it's also requested to remaster these games.
It's going to be garbage.
Warfare 1
I could see it being garbage, but people will still buy it, and that's the point.
It's Call of
Duty. Could
Duty.
be the worst game. It's Call of Duty. They're going to buy it. They're going to buy 18 12-packs of Mountain Dew, 35 bags of Cheetos, and no, if you play Call of Duty, I'm not making fun of you. I like Call of Duty. I've enjoyed the games.
It's something.
Cheetos and Doritos.
It's a meme, okay?
Yeah. It is a meme.
But as far as the dislikes go, I think it's more focused
is a
on
stereotype.
the way that Activision has been presenting this game, and that leads into our next news story that this Modern Warfare remaster is happening. However, you cannot get it standalone. You cannot. This may change in the future because we know when people get pissed off, shit happens and shit changes.
Sometimes companies will
But you cannot get Modern Warfare Remastered by itself. It is only going to be available with the Infinite Warfare Legacy, Legacy Pro, or Digital Deluxe Edition. Sorry. Digital Deluxe being a fully digital edition.
Those are the
with some
bundles
additional.
that come with it.
They're bundles. They're
I
bundles.
assume other things.
But the game comes
season
with
pass
it.
sort of thing.
Basically, and they've been pretty cut and dry. They've not been, I don't know, subtle about it for sure, and they've also not been easy about it. People have asked, can I play Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered without buying Call of Duty Infinite Warfare? And the answer is simple, no. You must own Call of Duty Infinite Warfare in order to get Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Which, why? Why? Now, obviously, we know the actual why answer. Money. Money. Money, money,
They
money.
want to sell their newer game.
And it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's going to work.
Absolutely.
Now, in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys fairly agree, I really think they should just release it as at least available, make it available by itself.
Absolutely.
It's like I predict that it's actually going to not
I
just due
eventually-
to complaints, but
I think
after
eventually.
the whole hype of the release of Infinite Warfare and sales go, and they get that, then they're gonna turn around and go, "Hey, okay, now it's time."
I think when they
Modern Warfare is
when they
standalone.
decide to convert it into disc, they'll do it as a bundle
could.
with 1 and 2.
They could do that.
I could very much
I
see that
suspect-
happening.
I think
that
they're going to release it this way to see how popular
Modern
it's
Warfare
going to
2 will
be.
also get a remaster, yeah.
And I understand
I
that
think
as
that-
being necessary, okay, because the game is going to have its own dedicated servers.
Yeah.
It'll be classic, Modern Warfare. It'll have its, multiplayer and everything that everybody loved about it, at least so far from what we've seen. And they are going to give it its own dedicated server. So obviously, yes, it's a kind of a good idea to gauge the reception of it. But
it's a moneymaker, but it's also a fan service. People want
it's
that.
Call of Duty. You know they're going to play it.
Yeah.
Yes, there's going to be people that are disappointed that it's not Modern Warfare 2, but those are going to be the people that are going to be playing Modern Warfare going, I wish this was
when's
Modern
the
Warfare
remastered
2.
Warfare 2?
I hate this. I'm never playing Modern Warfare. Oh, shit. I'm playing it right now.
Yep.
Same people. So the point is it's going to work. It's going to work. This is going to drive sales so immensely. People that do not give a crap about Infinite Warfare because of this are going to buy Infinite Warfare,
For Modern
take the
Warfare.
disc, and go, I'm going to put this on the counter, and then
And they might play it at some.
then yeah, they
might
will eventually.
learn to like
They bought it.
Or never, maybe.
They bought it. Maybe they'll learn to like it. Maybe they'll hate it forever. But the point is, it's there.
Maybe they'll buy it and take the download code and then return it for $35.66 at GameStop the
Yeah.
same week.
Yeah, they'll return it the next day for 75 to 80% of the money they spent, and then they have
Modern
they
Warfare.
have Modern Warfare.
The GameStop employee's gonna be like, did you use the code for the thing? Yeah, I used the code.
Yeah, actually, I
Modern
did.
Warfare.
It's
All
gonna
right.
work though, and
We
yes,
give you
I
this
agree.
much for it.
I very much can see it eventually being released as its own standalone. I look at it as probably a combination of the reception because I'm not a huge fan of Activision, but they're not total dingbats.
No,
They're
of
not.
course.
They can look at it and say, "Shit, we probably messed up with this." I don't know if they're going to instantly do something about it. They're going to get their money,
With your
and their sales, and then they'll go, oh yeah, and they'll change it, but I guarantee you that it's not going to be, because this was the reaction. It's going to be, well, we just really wanted to treat you guys as loyal customers,
We
or
wanted
some garbage like
they're
that.
gonna present it that way, and it's partly.
We know it's
a
not
fan
the
service.
full story.
It was
but,
requested. There was
know.
petitions, which that's not how petitions work for remastering the Modern Warfares. But there's a meme now I found on Reddit. You should pull that up.
Let's see if I can.
Because Call of Duty, call for money. It's and it kind of is because they do.
It's
Not as good as the Carl on Duty, Black Cops.
I like that one. That's a good one.
But still, good meme.
It's meme's pretty relevant, especially with Modern Warfare, because
the history. Yeah.
the difference between 1 and 2 is if you're playing the PC version, at least I know for sure. If you were to eject your game mid-play and were to insert the disc for the other game, it would load up the exact same because it was just
Modern
a
Warfare,
reskin.
Modern Warfare 2, right?
Yes, this
And-
is just the Modern Warfare series.
As far as like a coding issue goes there, I imagine a lot of it's because it's the same engine.
Yep.
Aside from that, I can't think of why, unless it's just
It's
straight
just-
up.
It's
it
because
was-
it works.
It was
It
100%
works.
reskinned with a new title.
The
and
reason is
people
because
bought
it works. And
But it's a good engine. I think there was some actual updates, but it was
Obviously,
was a
yeah,
full
it's a new game.
instead
graphical
of
updates and a
some-
name update and
Yeah.
maybe some weapon
it still has to
updates.
be a
But
new game.
Yeah, I think some of the actual
In terms of, there's a cool
Yeah.
new gun, and these guns have slightly different stats
they
to make you
reworked
think it's a
the-
different
it's-
game.
It's
I think in the
slightly
loadout some-
reskinned.
They
We
did.
took the skin from this RPG and swapped it with this AK.
Yeah. So I mean,
But that's how it was.
overall, we're kind of doing the opposite of fanboying right now. It's a legitimate franchise, and there are legitimate changes and expansions
There are
per
things
game
I
release.
do respect about them.
There's
they have kept the same engine that works.
there's a reason
To
why
save on production.
There's a reason why
expense.
Black Ops 1 is my favorite so far. It was a different game. I wouldn't have a favorite if they were all the exact same game. So obviously
Yeah.
we're kind of doing the opposite of
There you go.
fanboying. But at the same time, there's some validity there.
To be fair, I do have a lot of friends that thoroughly enjoy the game, and
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to go over and couch co-op, it's a game that
It's
I
an
like to
enjoyable
couch
experience,
co-op.
yeah.
But
Which it's one of the few games that still has a couch co-op experience. Those
Very true.
games in general have just sort of been straying away from that.
they've been going
That
to
sucks.
multiplayer online servers and
Yeah.
all that kind of various stuff. So
So there's a lot of good things about the series. It's not generally for me specifically, but there's things I respect about it. And just knowing as business, they're going to do a lot of their things, their decision making for profit.
hmm
But they also want to please people too.
Yes.
And
So-
they're not all about the money. But
not
it's,
entirely.
Like,
It's a business.
95%.
It's a business,
Yeah.
so
It's a business. They're about the money. They're all about the money. But they're all about the money while presenting an image that they care about
That
the
they-
consumer.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
which they do a good job at it.
Staying on that topic, though, of shooting
So,
people in the
of
face.
Going in that cycle of modern, future, space,
How about
past?
Staying
Boom.
on that topic.
I called it
Battlefield
last
1.
week. Last week, I went, when are they going to go back to World War? And someone, I think it was Travis, said, nah, they're not going to do that. No. Boom! Travis.
Battlefield 1 announced. Now, we're not going to play the trailer, just due to possible copyright and content
check
ID.
it out.
But
it's
anyways,
a well-produced trailer.
it's on
no
YouTube.
Gameplay involved.
Now, yes, we want to warn you and just express that we don't know a lot about the game. What we know is generally from the trailer. Now, it is an extremely well done trailer.
Yeah. Well produced, I'd say.
But from the trailer, it's kind of weird because the trailer was almost like a gut shot to Call of Duty in some ways with the way they presented it and the way they formatted it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We talked about this a little bit too, and how Battlefield's grown. At first, it kind of was a clone of Call of Duty. It tried to beat that, and right off the success. But 2,
they were like, let's get
they
away
started
from that
experimenting,
and then 3,
they were like, we don't need to be Call of Duty
anymore. At this
anymore.
point, it really does kind of have its own identity. It's got its own mechanics and features that are good about Battlefield that differ very greatly from Call of Duty.
Probably the one thing that they're bringing back that I'm sure everyone's happy about is going to be the 64-player multiplayer lobby.
Yeah.
I can see that happening, but I can also very easily see it not happening because,
yes.
and again, this is all just spawning from the trailer, because of the expansiveness of what it looks like they're going to do with how many options you have.
They may include a lot
this
of things that they show
trailer
in the trailer.
has freaking blimps, tanks, airplanes, horses.
That's what they got to do.
Classes.
Battlefield.
It's Battlefield. Yes, that's what Battlefield is. But
vehicles.
This
what
trailer
Battlefield
seems like it's going to be the most expansive Battlefield yet in terms of sheer options.
Gigantic maps. Vehicles,
we don't know that yet.
And that's what Battlefield.
But we can expect.
That's their current identity.
We don't know that, but we can expect it. But
I do.
But
I
basically,
do suspect.
If they have the maps that are those expansive, enormous size, like per Battlefield, standard operations, and we have all these options for all these different vehicles and tanks and classes and all this shit. We have all of that. That's when I can see it possibly not having the full 64-player online, simply because it just may not be plausible.
I think it'll depend on what team works on it. As far as the vastness for map, because if the Battlefront team works on it, then you're gonna get a very bland map with lots of cool backgrounds.
Yeah,
cool backgrounds.
So I can't see it. I can't see them presenting anything less than a 32-player online mode.
Which is
because anything less than that, and the game is just gonna flop.
You're
People will be
16
angry.
v 16.
So I can't see it being anything less than that. I'm really hoping for a full 64-player online PvP kind of environment, because that's what Battlefield is.
Okay, one of the things I really like about Battlefield is the memes and the little GIFs that came out of it of jumping out of your plane, shooting another vehicle down at the rocket, and then landing back in some sort of vehicle or plane.
It's hokey.
It's incredible. It's goofy and hokey. I love it.
It's hokey, and that's what it is.
Unrealistic as it is, but it's what everybody wants.
It's
what everyone wants.
Nobody wants
to exist in the world.
Nobody wants not that. They want to be able to do these absolutely batshit insane things. Post the video on YouTube, be like, "Look what I did," and they'll be like, "Oh my god!" Like the rap meme, like Super Hot Fire, just this guy running, oh! And that's what's gonna happen, and that's what's great about Battlefield. So I'm actually genuinely excited for this. Now I'll leave this with a caveat: I have never fully played anything but multiplayer on any of the Battlefield games. Anything but that, and even that, I've not gone that expansively into it. Like, I've played, some matches with friends. I've never owned a Battlefield game. I've always played other people's Battlefield games. But I've had fun.
Couch co-op.
I've had fun. But maybe this will be the one that gets me to buy it and actually, own a Battlefield game. Maybe.
Doing it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Their early DLC kind of...
I'm not going to pre-order it. Here at the Three Good Sirs, we have a pretty staunch...
Pre-ordering is a no.
We have a pretty staunch opinion that if you pre-order, you're a sheeple. No, I'm just kidding. We suggest you don't.
We did talk about some of the situations on when it would maybe be
a
fine idea.
There's times.
Or a good idea even.
I'm totally joking about that.
Do
if
you
pre-order
trust the developer?
No.
Do they have a reputable past? Are you really sold on what they're making? Are you so excited and you're so confident that it will be what you want?
I think key example of that is Battlefront. because they were like, yeah, it was a huge deluxe DLC pack that
Oh my god!
you know
then-
nothing of what we're going to release.
Wait,
And that
this
sucks.
game is super small and not
Actually,
that great.
super
It was
broken.
unreleased. Did they
Broken,
updated
small,
that?
not that great.
They fixed it.
They've fixed most of the brokenness,
Parts.
Good.
but it's still a small game. And okay, look, let's talk about it for a second. Yes, there's no space battles in Star Wars Battlefront, but hold on.
Do
This-
you care?
It is one.
There's
It
no
is
space
one
battles
of
in
like
Star Wars.
7 Star Wars games that just do not feature space battles.
Yeah,
so
yes.
do not pretend this
There's
is the first
laser
time.
guns and lightsabers and the other
Yes,
ones. Though.
I mean let's be honest.
if it's not in space,
It's a separate precedent for Battlefront as a game because Battlefront has generally had space battles. But
I-
don't pretend this is the first Star
I
Wars
think
game
it's
that
just
does not
one of
feature
them.
Star Wars.
I think it was
I
just
think-
Battlefield 2 that had space battles.
I think
Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battlefield.
Did I say
You did.
Battlefield?
Yeah, we're talking about
Battlefield,
games where you shoot
Battlefront.
someone in the
We're
face.
talking about
It's either a 9mm or it's
the
a
other
blaster.
Battle F game.
Battle
I
F.
think game would have been a lot more enjoyable with the standalone campaign.
I could see that. Yes.
They, yeah.
And that's not really there, and it's
At all.
detrimental, and it's not great.
So it kind of sounds to me like since they've done some updates and they fixed some things, it's a better game now.
More
But
playable.
it went the way of like Evolve. It was super hyped and it's like, oh, it's going to have all these features and it's going to be a great game.
And
But it wasn't full.
they
just
released
fell
it really
flat.
empty.
Because it wasn't full on release, a lot of the player base that would have really enjoyed what it is now
Fell off
just
because
Here's-
doesn't care anymore, and they're not going to come back because
I don't know if
the
I don't know if I
player
say they
base
won't come back.
maybe.
But here is the
It's not
difference.
gonna be as big.
Here's the difference. Evolve was a new IP.
yeah,
It
Super
was
hyped,
a
though.
new idea, and
Good idea.
not a huge development
Or
team or anything
execution.
like that. This is freaking Star Wars, created
Yeah.
by a
So
huge
a bigger
company
disappointment, to be
with
honest.
so much money behind it. They could just This is a company where they may say pre-order the game because of money, maybe throw a Kickstarter or whatever. They don't ever need to. They don't
It's
need
actually
to.
pretty good.
They-
now. Just the
they-
player base is small because of the events.
Yeah.
They
in the
they
execution.
could have given us everything that we actually wanted, but instead they took all of that away.
Battlefront.
Yes.
Yeah.
The point is the difference in the disappointment and the
Oh.
impact between Evolve flopping and
Battlefront
flopping.
is poopy.
Big thing, big
So,
deal. They have
that
this
was-
huge IP behind it.
Evolve was new.
That was a disappointing.
Battlefront was
release,
something we
for
had been
Evolve
waiting
was also
this
experimental.
year for.
There was
True.
really
Yeah,
no games
So as
like
far
it
as
before.
The
per
pre-releasing
se.
though is like, yeah, Battlefront 1 and 2 were great.
Buy
The
it,
company might have been
Battlefront.
great.
Oh my god!
And it didn't hold up to like a pre-release expectation.
Not at all.
For me, the Pokemon games are fairly consistent. Generally, Nintendo, at least their handhelds, go really well. So I trust the Pokemon games to pre-order for myself.
For the most part.
And Dark Souls is my shit. That I do.
But that's the point. They're ones
That
where you
I do.
had your good
And I
reasons
trust
to pre-order.
From Software, Bandai Namco is a bit shaky with me, in my opinion, at the moment. But From Software puts out good shit.
But you had your reasons. You had your
And
reasons.
I had my reasons. I justified them, and those are the things
Then
that
pre-order!
I to
Yeah! So, word of warning for you guys. It's about to get a little spooky here. So, if you
Oh, yeah.
Super
Spook.
pee your pants,
Yeah,
Go
this
put
is
on some
the only
Depends.
interesting
My-
story I found on Igen.
yeah, Iggin is just Iggin.
So
Come on, pick your shit up. Anyways,
What is actually a video game based on even anymore?
I buy games just because I'm.
Just
yeah,
because I
we
can.
know you do, Crystal. You have some interesting games that you've purchased, and there's no reason.
I respect the obscurity of of your
you play
interests.
some weird
You
shit,
find
dude.
some really like
I,
And you know what?
fine
And you know what?
games, and you show them, and I'm like, oh, that's actually really interesting.
And probably
I wish I
because
knew
I'm gonna
about
play
that.
a game where I'm a pigeon and I date other pigeons, and that's
What
on
about
you.
The gun one? I saw
So
that.
good job. Yeah, that
They were
was
all
Lindy.
like, "Ugh,"
That was
the other
Lindy,
all,
and
"Ugh."
a big ol' right here
That's
for
cool.
you, just because
It was hot.
I played Gat Life on stream and it was
It was
god
hot.
awful.
Guy life is hot.
It was hot. I'll admit it was hot, but I don't want to get banned on Twitch.
It's true.
At least I don't want it to be your fault, because then I'll punch you in the eye socket. Anyways, so spooky, scary skeleton mode. Slenderman is going to maybe be a
It
movie.
died for a while, and it's seeing a bit of new stuff.
I think that
It might be a movie.
Gat Life for 3 Good Sirs. We're never playing that. We'll
See-
reenact Gat Life one day when Travis
Cool.
gets his Pokemon bikini and
Cool.
creates it. Then we'll reenact
But-
it.
Yeah, Slenderman. The news is there's going to be a movie maybe in 2016.
Possibly.
Made
Sometime.
by the same company that's produced the Resident Evil movies.
Which
So-
started off fine and then slowly deteriorated to utter
They
bullshit
started off
garbage.
pretty good.
Poopy garbage.
Poopy garbage.
Yeah.
Poopy
So it started
garbage.
off fine. Slenderman's already a movie? No. Actual
Official.
movie.
Official.
Actual movie.
There was
Like,
official
I watched
movie.
that
Feature
fan
film.
made, and it was. It
We're
was
just-
a different take on the Slender
We're talking
movie
terms
lore, I
of
feel.
officiality, an actual, well-known production company,
Mhm.
and it's going to be directed by the guy who has been kind of the directive vision behind the Uncharted series.
I think he's doing The
Last of Us.
thing.
Last of Us.
Yeah, that's
He's
what it was.
going
He's-
he's going to be directing the Last of Us movie, which is not like official,
He's
but
going to be involved probably.
it's very likely that it's going to happen. There's a real produced movie. It does not have an official title. I'm telling you, it's not official.
Pretty sure it's just a full-length thing on YouTube.
It's a full length, but
Unless
it's a
I'm
fan
thinking
creation.
of something else. And
So
I'm pretty
if,
sure
if there's a movie that they have officially backed as official, as I'm going to say
then
using
I don't
the
know
word
of it.
official 5 more times, throw that shit in the chat because we want
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, I don't know of it if that's the case.
Last of Us movie might catch my eye. Crystal, have you played The Last of Us, the game?
It's a movie.
good story.
It's a movie.
If you
It's a
haven't,
movie game.
in playing.
If you
It's
haven't,
good.
fucking
It's
do
good.
it.
It's good.
Because it's by far one of my favorite games ever now.
It's definitely
Simply just because the story was fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyways, yes, Lindy, put that in the chat. If we're wrong, prove us wrong. Show it in the chat. We want to see
You're
it.
the Slender expert.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
you know more about it than we
Okay.
know. Jeez.
So, since you're interested in Slenderman stuff, I've got one of those shitty me trying to be a PewDiePie
I know you're
clone
not talking about
3
Marble
years
Hornets.
ago. It's I'm a shit, and I'm a nerd. Okay, I was a nerd. But
I
it's
know you're not
maybe
talking about Marble
maybe
Hornets.
it's a good watch for you specifically.
just put it
you
in the
might be
chat.
interested. I don't know.
If there's an actual official movie, I want to know. Because we want to be correct in
Yes.
the things that we say.
And honestly, seeing it wouldn't be that bad. Hopefully,
This is just from what
Maybe.
we've read. This is an official, allowed, and backed
and just
production
knowing
to
that
film.
has piqued my interest of like, okay, how are they going to do that? Because this is actually something, as far as the lore goes, it's interesting to me.
8 out of 10 is a fine score, dude. It was The Last of Us was not a perfect game by any means. It had its problems and it had its
Games are.
issues.
And
So,
a
8
lot
out of
of
10 is
it
fine.
is, you get this really good game, and then some people, by their opinion, think it's a perfect game by
And-
what they like.
In terms of how much I enjoyed the game, I would give it more of a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
8 out of 10
as
is
far
fine.
as
I
overall
don't.
play.
Yeah.
There's very few games I give a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
In terms of how much I enjoyed. I hate reviewing games by graphics and then bugs and I review games on a scale of 1 to 10 by how much I enjoyed them.
personally enjoyed it, not IGN standards.
I'm
And
not-
if you
I'm
wanna
not
look
gigging.
at like a more objective sort of view, you go, all right, are these game mechanics solid? Is there anything that's kind of clunky? Are there inconsistencies with the graphic to gameplay ratio of the graphics are too good in this area, but there's a lot of gameplay, so there's slow down. You can judge things a bit objectively on some of those points.
And I think
It's still an opinion.
if
It's
you're
how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you're gonna base it off of a personal scale level, if it is a story that captures you, whether it plays like shit or
Yeah.
it plays amazing,
You liked
Did
the
you
story.
enjoy it?
gonna enjoy
Did you
it,
enjoy it?
so-
We are not
Had a good
gigging here.
experience.
Marble Hornets is still better than any
Again,
movie. Maybe.
10 out of
I don't
10.
know. I don't know. I want to have hope that it'll be good because of the minds that are simply behind it.
but
Like The Last of Us, great. If the mind of The Last of Us is behind it, I could
Then-
see it being really good.
yeah, it could
In
be
terms
a
in
story.
terms of rating, I give it like a 9 out of 10. I think there's only 3 games that I've ever played that I would personally assign a 10 out of 10. I think that would be Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy X, and Pokemon Silver
Yep.
/ Gold.
I can.
No, silver.
Silver. Gold gets a 9.5.
At best. No.
But that's me
That's a
personally.
reskin.
Yeah.
So we're talking
So,
about
8 out of 10 is
games.
fine.
Go for the versions of Pokemon of just, all right, you can't get that Pokemon in this version, but alternatively, you can get this Pokemon.
Well, what are those games, Crystal? Feel free to share. There's
Yeah,
games that you'd
please.
rate perfect 10 out of 10 or even higher than
Yeah,
that.
one, as far as just talking about it, that might be interesting to look up.
Yeah.
But for me personally,
Let us know.
I admire some of your interests.
Yeah.
So.
You like cool things and you have a sexy voice. His voice
You
is
sound like
he's got like
you,
Perfect.
to me, sound like Titus from the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
yeah, kinda.
That's
A
the
little
vibe I
bit
get.
little bit
I-
deeper voice. Like,
A bit,
or I guess
yeah.
less squeaky. Because Titus is
A
kind
little
of
bit
squeaky.
less flamboyant.
The main thing is
A little
it's deep and sexy and kind of rumbles and
Yeah.
it kind of gets you
Like,
going a little bit.
Tickles your genitals, kind of.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. But anyways, I am bread equals 10 out of 10. Is that a game?
Okay.
Wife, really?
I am bread.
Really?
Have
I,
you
have
never
you not
heard of
seen
that?
I Am
I'm
Bread?
Googling this.
Oh, man.
I am bread.
Okay. I don't know.
I am bread
Never-
on Steam.
I've told you about this. I
$12.99. $12.99.
It's on the PlayStation Store, and each time I bring it up to buy it, she says no. Let's not.
Do you be bread?
You
You
are
have
bread.
to make it across the kitchen and get into the toaster as a piece of bread.
For $12.99, there's gonna have to be some hilarity.
There's a lot.
Is there?
Oh yeah. There's
If you enjoy like
you're
people
crawling
like
around as a
people
piece
like
of bread, and you're
Markiplier.
starting to collect.
I like Markiplier.
Yeah,
Go
It's
watch,
neat.
it's
watch
kinda
him,
like
watch him
you-
play. I
I'll
Am
check
Bread.
this out.
Watch him play I Am
Andy, I'll
Bread.
check
Yeah.
that out. I Am Bread may be in my library
I
soon.
think you're gonna like that.
I may
It's
play
a
that
game
on
that
stream.
you would enjoy.
I don't know.
I think a game.
But you crawl
to
around as
just-
bread, and a bunch of shit sticks to you, like dirt or the shit.
So
on the
it's
counter.
Katamari Damacy, but you're bread.
a little bit.
Because I loved Katamari.
But it's a little bit different because you have to make it over there with limited contamination levels and you
No,
have X
no,
amount
everything
of grip,
makes bread
And
taste
there's
better.
different directions
And
and
everything
paths
goes
you
on
can
bread.
take.
and you have to make your way up.
And it gives you an
counters
IGN
and-
score
Yes!
at the end of how
I want-
good of bread or toast are you
Yep.
at the end of it. And
Markimoo.
Marky Moo's my favorite.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that we're
He's-
not going to spend too much time on that, but it was a little interesting thing.
like
Slenderman movie. Now, what would Three Good Sirs be without talking about Dark Souls? It would not exist. And Travis isn't
so a few
here,
things.
so we'll see you. We'll
what's
be
he
here
gonna
for
do?
about 5 hours.
Yeah, what's he
can't
gonna do?
stop
He
us.
can't stop us. There's no one to regulate this.
So, anyways,
Ugh.
the actual two stories are not that deep.
no.
But they're interesting. So for any of you guys who are interested in getting in more in depth into Dark Souls or getting good, Lindy,
Yeah,
this
get
might
good,
help
get
you.
good.
Get good.
Peter, what is
Okay,
this?
so a couple things. One, Dark Souls 1 and 2 are on Humble Bundle.
Yes,
Go ahead
I
and
will
put the
actually
link in
bring that up. It's right here.
That's neat and is going on for a little bit longer. I'm
So
not sure
I will throw that
the
link into chat.
dates, but Dark Souls 1 and 2 are fairly cheap. I believe it's the
75%
PC
and
versions.
50% off.
So if it's the PC versions, I'm pretty sure, those do require some modded fixes. There's unofficial patches.
One,
for that?
yes. Two, I've not heard anything too bad about PC
same-
version.
There's some problems.
Okay.
I could explain them, but
Peter has
basically,
played far more of the PC version
There's
than I have.
there's the DS fixes for those, and
Okay.
look it up. Someone will explain how to do that and what it actually fixes.
Either
They're
way.
important because they're poopy garbage ports to the PC.
Either way, Dark Souls for $5
So there's that.
and Dark Souls 2 for $20
If
That's great.
you're
Killing
interested in the PvP aspect,
or just getting good.
there is finally the Mugen Monkey character stat build creator, where you can input the gear you want to be using, and you can play around with the stats and how that's going to affect.
I'm bringing that up on the
What
desktop
you
to
do?
kind of show what it
Yeah.
looks like. It's just
And
a little
there's
GIF.
a GIF of it kind of working out. You just put in what you want to be doing, so you can get your maximum efficiency on your build with minimum investment.
But stats
So you
right
can kind of
here.
plan what level you're going to end up being, the amount of stats you put in. It's going to calculate like your weight, your resistances, and the gear you put in, so you can fashion a bit too. It's really helpful for doing PvP or invasion builds at certain levels, you know. So that's
I'll
out
see if
now,
I
and it's
can
good.
Throw
Played
a
around
link in
with it.
there.
I've got a level 60 build that's going to be really troll, really cheesy, that I want to go and murder gankers.
Now, just as an example, there also this tool is available for 2 and 1 as
Yes.
well. So it's not just for Dark
And
Souls 3
Demon Souls,
and Demon Souls. Yes, and
Boom.
Bloodborne. There's builds for all of
And-
them. It's the same. It's all Mugen Monkey. But Lindy, this might be helpful for you. You know, you kind of have a little
This
bit of weariness in
may
making your
help
builds.
you understand what the stats actually do and affect your character. But as far as like a PvE, if you're just going through the story, you don't need to try to plan like efficiency of like, oh, I'm gonna hit this level 120 meta and I need these specific stats. This is the most efficient way to do that. Just Doesn't matter what level you end up in. Pump your stats into things that are useful.
Or you could be me and farm until you're level 60 before you go to Sens.
You could do that.
Or you could just not be a little bitch and
That's
just do
okay.
Sens Fortress.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Sen's Fortress is a little bit misleading. The first part of it's really difficult just to kind of
doesn't-
introduce you.
You
and
don't.
then it's kinda-
Once you've done it
tones
once,
down a little bit.
once you've done it once, you don't get to be a little bitch anymore.
Yeah, sounds
you gotta
bad.
get good.
And there's a bonfire in the top PSA.
Oh, she knows. She knows. She's aware.
Okay, good.
We show.
You're
her.
in Enterlond.
Yeah,
We'll get to
she's
that later.
she's good.
so
In terms
there's
of
that.
games that I'd rate high, I'm going like 8.5 plus. Personal rankings, games I play over and over again. Final Fantasy Legends 2. You told me about that one. Growl Lancer 4. I've not played that.
No,
Fate
never.
Extra. Tales of Zillia.
Tales of Zillia 2.
Tales of Zillia
That's,
2. Again, you like
got
these
some
obscure
cool
games
stuff,
that I
man.
don't know what they are. I want to look up every single one of those games, though.
The Tales series is one of my personal favorites.
Tales
and
of
not,
Zillia?
And not even just from a playing aspect. just from overall
Console
watching
wise.
it.
Console wise.
Yes.
What's it on?
It's on PS4. I know that for sure.
Do you know if it's on PC?
I'm
Xbone?
not certain.
Or Xbone?
Not sure
Or
about
PS,
this.
so PS4 and Xbone, maybe?
Look it up, though.
Maybe
It's
PC?
Zillia.
We'll look it up later.
Yeah.
Recommended by at least two of us here. Well,
Anyways,
Shea
it's a
and
good game.
Crystal.
continuing on in Dark Souls news, because we're never going to stop. I got through
Ever.
Sen, so shut up. I know, but you keep bitching out. Anyways, in terms of more cool Dark Souls thing, this is less news. It's more a really
It's a really
fucking
neat thing
cool
that
thing
somebody
that
did.
happened.
That
So,
shit up.
Pontiff, spoiler warning, is considered by many
One of
the hardest boss.
Yeah. He's
Considered
the
by
flame
many
lurker of
the
Dark
hardest
Souls
boss
3.
of Dark Souls 3.
No one gets that one.
Very
Dark Souls.
difficult. However, not difficult for this guy who found a way to one-shot him. Literally one-shot him. And I'm going to bring up
Yeah,
this
that's pretty
fucking cool ass gif of him
And
one-shotting
I can
him.
break it down, some of the things that he's doing.
So this is what happens.
So just looking at it, so he's got, beforehand, he uses a weapon art to give him a buff. He uses the dragon torso that buffs damage. He uses that twice, I believe. Didn't know that worked that way.
He uses
It
once,
does.
he uses two more things and then
a miracle.
reuses it.
There's an
Which is deep
official
protection.
There's an
which, as a
official
buff,
quote-unquote list down here.
He's got the Hornet's Ring on, which boosts his critical attack, so when he parries and reposts, it does bonus damage. He's got the Red Tearstone Ring. He's got the Morion Blade, so at low health, he's doing increased damage as well.
As we can see, it's likely
What
he's
else has
also
he
wearing
got?
the Hornet Ring.
He's also got the weapon arts for his machete, which is Warcry, which boosts his damage. And just with all those different multipliers, I guess it adds up to one-shotting the
This
boss.
says that he
Like-
thinks it adds up multiplicatively, which puts it around 241% damage, but there's 2 more ring slots that we don't actually know about, so, could be adding some more
I
damage.
can't think of what those would be.
But, there
He
could be
might-
something.
Possibly the clutch rings, which boost might affect like the miracle he used.
Maybe, yeah.
or
Something like that.
I can't think of what else would have been.
If
Either
there's
way,
anything that
But
doubles
he
effects,
put in a lot
that
of
would be the
plans.
thing.
He put in a lot of thought into just how much offensive boosts can I get, and he does that.
Either way, it's part of apparently a challenge that this guy and some others are trying called the one-hit KO challenge, where you try to kill every single thing in the game in one hit. And this is considered one of the hardest bosses, but considered by a lot the hardest boss. And
he's tough.
He laid him down and took a dookie on his chest. To put it kindly.
I mean, let's be fair. It's
Yeah,
kind
I mean-
of like a 2-hit combo, but it's one
Well,
fluid
only
motion.
one of the hits
So I'll
actually does
explain-
damage.
Well,
No.
kind of. I'll
Yeah,
explain.
Well, in
what
the
that is.
visceral, a visceral is considered one hit
Yeah.
because it's one button press.
Yes.
To do the actual.
So it
attack.
is just a repost. The animation does split up the damage into a first and second, but that's just because the Hornet's Ring boosts the critical hits.
harder than the Nameless King. Some people.
Sometimes it changes the animation, so the way that it boosts the damage on a critical hit is you got your first hit, and then now they're laying on the ground, so you slam with your
Yes.
machete. Second hit.
But still,
Same one critical hit, just to be
button press.
clear.
One fluid
One
motion.
button press. See, as far as Nameless King spoilers, I'm not really going to go to spoilers on that, but it kind of depends on your playstyle, because some people had no problems with Nameless King, but got their ass handed to them by Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember the name. I fought the bosses like once.
Guy on the dragon,
That's right.
and then you kill the dragon, and then you fight him.
I killed him the first time.
Yeah, I didn't. See? Lindy knows. I almost had to wear a dress because of that guy. I almost had to wear a dress because of that guy.
To be fair, I killed him the first time on my game. I did help my friend co-op prior to that.
So
I had a bit of
But
experience. I played the
yeah.
fight like 5 times prior to me just going in. So I had experience. I kind of knew what I was doing. So there.
Yeah, I didn't bitch out. I told you I would wear the dress if I didn't beat him, and I anti-bitched out, and I beat him. And then you got a unicorn hat, so I don't want to hear it. I
Neat.
still have it. It's down on my floor right over there. I don't know how this is going to work, because I'm already wearing a hat, but fuck it.
Gonna work.
Fuck it! We'll do it! We're doing it live!
It's a hat on a hat.
Hat on a hat.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
But, so anyways, here you go. Fine, shut up. It's on. You shut up, you people. But, yes, it depends on your playstyle. Peter beat him first try. I took like 500, whatever. But those two are basically pretty much universally agreed on as the two hardest bosses.
Yeah. See, I had a lot of trouble with the Twin Princess. I died a lot to that.
Yeah!
I died the most in any game to an NPC at the very beginning. The katana-wielding weeaboo, the Naked Master guy on the side of the Firelink.
Yeah, I have
He
2
killed me
hats.
the most times.
I'm
in
the greatest
entire
hat
series.
wearer in this whole stream because I have 2. And you know what? So maybe let's even
he's
try
my
this.
He's
What about
my
this?
arch nemesis.
What about this?
So on
Yeah,
Dark Souls,
get
news,
good, you nerds.
There's actually, my buddy was telling me about a game that's made, and it's like a splicing of Dark Souls and Ninja Gaiden.
Ooh, which one is that? Is that the Nexus or the or what's it?
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
really wish that I remember the name, and I'm gonna have to ask him for it. But it's
I don't know.
and apparently he had to hit level 20 before he was able to fight the first boss.
And I
So-
think that's due to
See,
partially an experience,
it's
and maybe
such-
a game balancing.
It's
No,
such a
he's-
stereotype that
he's-
Dark Souls is
he's
the
played
hardest
the
game.
Souls,
Okay.
yeah.
So maybe this is
There
a game
are
balancing
harder games
issue.
than Dark Souls.
We're talking about Ninja Gaiden and Dark Souls mixed.
Yeah.
So-
If you've ever
two
played
of
Ninja
two of
Gaiden,
what are
the
considered the hardest
hardest
games.
And
So
because they're very punishing, they are challenging. They do require some experience and skill that you acquire,
I would agree.
but they're punishing
2
for
hats.
if you make a mistake.
2 hats, bitches.
Not necessarily.
I'd
Just
play that
difficult.
song if we had song requests set up. I'd play it. It's a good song. Go check it out. It's about having, a lot of hats. So anyways, we're not going to actually be on Dark Souls for 12 hours.
That was
but
more
just
than
so
I
you
thought.
know,
It's
there's
a little
Mugen
bit
Monkey. You
longer.
could check it out if you want to get good.
I'm gonna look
Or,
up that again.
different way to get good is just
That was
by
what I
not
was
being
thinking.
bad. That's it. Just don't be bad and instead be
Let
good.
me text him.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
Who are you
Let's-
texting?
Taylor.
Dude,
He has
texting
a social life.
texting on the show?
I
That is
know.
so rude
I
for
need
a
to-
guest.
I need
gonna-
to find
Shame.
out. I need to find out. this
Shame
game
on
for-
you.
I need to find out the game for Peter.
And I want the chat to
I
shame
want to
you.
know.
I want them to
Let's
shame
just
you.
move on
Please
with the
shame me.
conversation still.
So, he's like sitting up here. Well, fuck it. I guess I'll join you. Alright, what are we texting about? I'm not actually texting. So, we're actually moving away from the Dark Souls topic amazingly.
We'll probably come back once I find this. Okay.
We will.
Once we
We'll come
find
back
it.
when we find it. But, let's talk about good old
Recognize any of those?
Nintendo again. If you were here last week...
That's Gambit.
Shut up! If you were here, horrible etiquette.
Necropolis.
Yeah.
Shut
I
up.
was thinking-
He's in
Shut
trouble.
your mouth.
He's in the doghouse, isn't he?
was thinking of Necropolis. Does
Necropolis.
that sound familiar?
Not to me.
Yeah.
Not to me.
No.
Okay.
I've never heard
That's
of
what
it.
I was thinking.
I don't know.
There's-
Probably not the one Shea's talking
I don't-
about, but
I don't
he'll
think
share
so.
with us.
There's a few.
But anyways, you're in the dog
He'll,
couch. We got you in trouble.
Dog
Now that
couch.
information helps me get past the Archer Knights. Yeah, I told you, run.
Get good.
Run, Forrest!
Sorry, that's
Run!
not helpful. Yeah, run a lot.
And
Take
get
a-
good.
okay.
And get good.
Learn how to parry the Silver Knights, or take up a Great Shield up there so you can block his hits without losing a lot of stamina, and poke him with like a spear or a rapier, because you can block and attack at the same time. But there is that one Silver Knight at the top who you have to move through him because he's in the way on a narrow path.
All I'm telling you is that it's just a simple tactic. Make your game glitch like mine did, and he'll fall
jump
down.
Off. He'll just go. Oh,
it's not that hard.
The chosen
it's
one.
like me beating the ancient wyvern guy.
Yeah, he got afeared of
It's
you.
simple tactic.
And he jumped off and suicided.
Get so good that they get afeared and they'll
Wow.
jump off or they'll fall through the map. It's not that hard. Just do it. Just do it. That's what you got to do. So, anyways, let's talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, for like a
Last week, we discussed how Nintendo announced that their only playable game at E3. If you don't understand E3, it's a big convention. All the game developers come. Now, this is not specifically what we're talking about because game developers, all the Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they all do these conferences where they talk about all the upcoming games. But Nintendo last week announced that the only playable game that they would have would be the new Legend of Zelda game.
That got confirmed.
Which, absolutely confirmed.
I think we talked about how just Nintendo does have their own show, and if they're not prepared for E3 or they don't care to do it in that format, they have their Nintendo Direct where they do like to promote their
And
own
Peter kind of predicted this last week, but the point is that it's confirmed that Nintendo's press conference slot is no longer a press conference.
It's
confirmed. It is
Zelda.
new Zelda game. What it's going to be is it's going to be a stream of them playing the new Legend of Zelda game.
Which
and
I think
there's
they
going
did
to
that
be
already, so they're just gonna keep
no,
doing it.
it was more of a trailer.
Yeah, okay.
This is going to be actually
There was
like
some,
in depth.
They show more in
This
depth.
this
definitely.
is so behind the scenes, actual information released about the game. Actual information.
that's good. We
Different
didn't really get
different
much
things. It's but they're not gonna have like this game is coming out. This
what I
game
really
is coming
like
out. This
that
game is
Nintendo
coming
does
out.
with their trailers. They actually show gameplay.
They do, which is nice.
Like the majority
It's
of
not just like
their
it's not
Chinese
trailers
just
is
graphics.
gameplay.
It's not just here's this game engine simulation that we threw
Yeah.
together.
At a
It's
high
like,
production
here's
value,
actual
graphics,
gameplay so you can see what you're gonna play.
yeah, Lindy, he falls
I
off
like to see
sometimes.
that.
Discussion
That
over.
helps.
Get good, he falls off.
That really
Persona
helps
5.
me in making a decision on whether I want to
Have you
buy
guys
a
played
game.
Persona games?
I've played
I
Persona 4.
respect this series.
I've-
I know a bit about
I've
them.
also
I've not
played Persona
yet
4.
at the time.
And I've seen things about all the other Personas. And interesting game. Kind of falls in line with like Shin Megami Tensei. In terms of style of game, kind of, at least
thought
atmosphere.
you were going to say Shenmue. And
No.
I was like, yeah.
Not Shenmue. Not Shenmue. Shenmue's just greatest. Shenmue's just greatest of all time. But anyways, still focusing on Nintendo. So that's kind of a big thing because E3 every year is just looked at this huge opportunity for these huge developers to have information on all these games are coming out.
Investors.
All these
give
games are
you,
coming out, and Nintendo's just like, fuck it. We know everyone just really cares about Nintendo or about Zelda.
And that's
Like,
what we
yes,
have.
there's
That's
Pokemon
so
games
fun,
coming
dude.
out, but dude, Zelda.
They're
Like,
like,
really? Zelda.
Smorgasbord of video games, Zelda.
So
Zelda.
they're just gonna take
Boom.
Zelda, and they're gonna
you said earlier,
they're
the
just
year
gonna
of
kind of
Zelda.
grab you and just do this and force feed it to you, and you're gonna like it. Topanga. Topanga. But they're just gonna force feed you Zelda, and you know what? You're goddamn gonna like it. Every single person there is goddamn gonna like it because guess what? We get to hear about the new Zelda. That is unfortunately going to be on the Wii U
ambitious
and the
project.
new
I like
console, and it's.
They need to
Literally.
not include motion controls or touch controls.
I don't know.
Please.
I don't know. They need
To,
to, if they're going to
I
include
like
them, they need you to be able to turn them off completely and have a good
if it's
control system
optional.
that doesn't require them.
It just
I
needs
feel
to be
like
a good
we're
control system.
sort of shitting on Star Fox.
Yeah. Well, that's a good
Every
point.
word I utter from my mouth for the
I'm
past 3
also-
weeks has been shitting on Star Fox,
But
I'm also shitting on all the Zelda games that have included motion controls,
which
which
I can
without the
understand.
control scheme were good games.
yeah.
have to get a Wii U. No, just get the new console.
the
I
NX.
liked Twilight Princess.
Get the
It was a
NX,
good
which
Zelda
probably
game.
won't even be called the NX, but
Not
maybe
on
will
the
be
Wii,
called
though.
the
It'll-
NX.
yeah.
I don't know. Get it. Because it's on both. Crystal, Cheese Louise. So, Nintendo's going to shove Zelda down your throat.
Yeah.
You're going to like it. And Zelda might possibly be also to be able to be a girl, which, whatever.
Yeah. And-
We discussed that before. And
yeah. And we
I
just shit on all
my
the
only
intuitive
thing is,
things
if
that
you're
I
going to let...
respect Nintendo for doing.
I know I said Zelda, Link, but I'm talking about
Link
game.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What if
Link,
Zelda-
what if Zelda
What if
was a
Zelda
girl?
was a girl?
If Link gets to be a girl,
Link-
my only
yeah,
qualm
fine
is
for
that he better be hot.
Linkle.
He better be hot.
Well,
or
I
I'm
mean,
right.
Winkle's pretty big.
He's relatively good-looking dude. So,
Yeah. And kind of femmy
unless-
anyways.
He's a neutral kind of looking.
You put him in Girl
Character.
Farm, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. Yes. I'm interested, but I need to see
I'll look it
more.
up.
I need to
I
see
don't know
more.
what that is. Yeah.
I don't know either. Totally fair.
Crystal's
Go
got
look it up
a
and talk.
whole
There's-
library of like really obscure and interesting things.
She's like my buddy Taylor. You go to his house and you're gonna see lots of Japanese games that you didn't even know existed.
That's
And you're gonna be like,
that's kawaii. As I wear this
I like-
stupid ass unicorn hat.
I like.
Master Again, why? Why what? Oh my god, you are so old. I'm a little old, yes. I'm
I
like,
think
Not in his
I'm
heart.
24, man.
he's only like a few months older than me.
Yeah, so it's just the
So
beard,
that
man.
makes you old
The
too.
beard makes you think I'm older than I really am. The unicorn hat kind of counterbalances it out.
That's true.
So I don't know, dude.
And the bit you just.
I don't know, dude. I'm old enough. I'm legal if that's what you're looking for.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
completely legal.
Mm.
So that's Zelda,
Yeah.
and they're gonna shove it down your throat. You're gonna like it.
While on
in
the topic
other
of Nintendo,
yeah,
actually.
other Nintendo stories.
Shea mentioned Star Fox.
Oh yeah, let's
Star
talk.
Fox.
Let's shit on
So,
Star Fox for a
yeah.
minute. Let's take another moment to
So,
shit on Star Fox. We
Star
have
Fox
to.
is Japanese sales,
Yeah.
and I think just sales in general, but
In
they're
general,
Japanese
yes, specifically
specific. Sold a record low 17,000 opening week, which
17,000.
sounds like a lot, but
No.
we're talking about
No.
a Star Fox game
Yeah,
that's
from
been
Nintendo.
anticipated for at least 10 years, and 17,000 copies.
17,000 is utter garbage. Yeah, you're all old, dude. We are.
Yes.
I'm 24.
Do you
He's
see the
24.
facial hair?
He's 24. We're all 24, dude.
We're like,
Back in my day when we played Pong.
If we were old, how old are you? Like
Yeah, you nerd.
14?
You nerd.
Sorry.
You're welcome here.
Sorry.
middle one's definitely
And that's okay.
married.
I was 14 once.
Middle one's gay. Dude, he's got a wife. Man, he's got a hot
cover.
wife. She's babelicious. So, Star Fox, 17,000.
Yep.
Absolute utter garbage. There's
For-
more terrible games.
For a lot of the production and the expenses they probably put into the game, that's
Oh, they spent millions.
not
Millions and
good.
millions and millions.
Yeah, that's not a good
Rip
comeback.
COD? Yeah, we talked about COD
Yeah.
earlier.
We did. That was
It's
If you want Modern Warfare, you're not Rip COD. If you want the remake, you gotta buy the whole thing and spend a shitload of money, and then only get a digital download. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Sorry.
sorry.
So Star Fox, shit, flopped.
Yeah.
Probably gonna end up being a flop, and Nintendo will lose money on it. Not that they don't have enough money
they'll
as
recover.
is.
They will.
There's
They
not
do
even
have big
recovering needed.
It's not the
projects.
first time they've lost money on a video game.
There's not even. You don't need to recover money. They're
it
rich,
just means
bitch. They're
that
real big
this- In
timers.
2017, they're going to come out with a side-scrolling Mario game and make a lot of money.
Mario Maker 2,
So
Electric Boogaloo,
Oh,
and Knuckles.
I don't.
Disc
the-
4 of
that's
5.
the movie, the game.
Yeah,
You
the
mean
game.
5 of 4.
So in another Nintendo news, listen news, just an interesting thing.
Pull this up on a Reddit.
Check out Nintendo's YouTube page
Yeah.
because apparently they're starting a cool thing. From the looks of it, the
It's a new
name is
series.
going to be Backlog Buster. And what they're going to do is they're going to. It looks like it's a series. We don't know, but it looks like it's going to be like this, where they go back and they play old Nintendo games.
Oh,
And
shit.
these are official
I think the
Nintendo videos
The
about
one in the
it.
Reddit, the one that's up here, is Earthbound, which
Yes, Earthbound is the one they released so far. Earthbound, Backlog Buster, Nintendo Minute. So, I don't. How long is the video total? Is it just a minute? Oh no, these are
I
long.
think it's
17 minutes.
some
So,
play,
they're
some gameplay,
general
some
playthrough pushes.
discussion.
But check that out if you're interested in
I'm
old
interested. I haven't
Nintendo
seen it yet,
games.
but I stumbled across it like
So if
5
you-
minutes before
yeah.
we started.
If
so
you
I
need your
wanted to
fix
mention-
of more than Zelda, go look at that
You know,
because
I-
all these old games that are
I'm interested
freaking
in
great.
Earthbound. I'm gonna play that for the first time
Now I'm
ever.
trapped in the
at some
closet.
point.
You know it's not going to be a flop. Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm interested. I think it's going to do very well. I think it's going to do very well. What is your name? Miranda Lawson. Miranda Lawson. I agree with you. I think it's not going to be a flop. I think it will sell well. I don't know if it's going to be a
Probably
good
sell well.
game. I can't say that. I
think
cannot
it's
tell you
It-
that.
It'll probably be good.
I think it'll be good.
For Mass Effect fans, I think it'll be fun.
It's really hard to fuck up Mass Effect, so I think it will be good, but I can't promise you that. But I can promise you it will not be a flop, and it will sell a gajillion copies, and
Well, there's no doubt. It's a Mass Effect.
they will touch themselves with their millions of dollars and just rub it all over their body and go, yes! Yes, Mass Effect!
It's like Call of Duty, but not nearly as sure. Terrible. shitty, terrible.
They could buy a real unicorn after they make it, a real one, because that's how much money they're gonna make.
Because they could,
So another interesting Nintendo
process
thing,
one.
So let's talk
Okay.
let's talk PC Master Race for a minute. No, we're not actually PC Master Race fanboys on Three Good Servers. I personally think that the PC is the superior platform,
It is.
but I also own a really good PC. Not everybody does, and consoles are great too. I owned a PS4.
Are a lot more
I'm going
expensive
to own
than
a
just console
PS4.
that it's there and it works. It's easy and it's cheap and affordable.
But in terms of PC gaming,
It's affordable.
what many people consider to be the most important thing to have while PC gaming is a good graphics card. Now, there's a pretty
Everything else
solid
to complement a good graphics card, but
there's a pretty solid industry standard in that Nvidia is considered the standard for what you buy for your PC graphics card. There's other options, there's ATI.
sure, yeah.
There's other options, but Nvidia is considered the standard, and it's considered, like the guideline. Or do you have a 670? Do you have a 770? Do you have a 780? Well, the top of the line Nvidia card that was released last year was the GeForce GTX Titan X, which is a fucking fantastic video card. Okay,
Yeah, but
it'll
also
play anything on max settings.
released at like 1,000.
But this
monies.
card was released at 1,000 monies, U.S. monies, 1,000 U.S. monies.
1,000.
And that's a bit
Straight
ridiculous, But you got the money.
Now-
You be the master race.
Just barely kind of released the details of it is this for the Nvidia GTX 1080. Now, if you don't know, the way the naming convention kind of works is all of the cards end with like a 40 or a 50 or a 60 or a 70 or 80 or a 90, and then there's other separate levels that are still similar to where it'll be like a 670, a 770. Now, all the cards like 670, 70, 70, 870, whatever, 970, they're all really, really close.
Yeah.
The bigger steps come from when you go from like a 770 to a 780 to a 790. It's actually kind of bigger steps that way. But this is what Nvidia is saying is the top of the line graphics card now that will even be taking over the GeForce GTX Titan X. But here's the big deal.
It's like half
This
the price on release.
is going to be exponentially cheaper. Here's kind of like some graphs on where they're placing it. So if you follow this up, you got your 980, 970, all these up here. Titan X is kind of right about here. And this is where they're placing this 1080. Okay.
On the power scale, it's quite a bit less than the
Titan. Where they're placing it. Is that-
It's a curved graph for a reason. Both
Okay.
I think it's power and efficiency or efficiency and
there you
power
go.
either
Okay,
way.
okay.
But either way, exponentially up here, it's going to
I
be
see.
basically more
And
powerful.
efficiency.
But here's the big thing: $599 MSRP. That is almost half the price
Yeah.
of the Titan X for a card that
Upon
runs
release.
fairly significantly faster. Now, $599 is a lot of money. Yes, $599 is a lot. But
It's a
for
lot.
the top of the line graphics card that you can get, and if that's still too rich for your blood, just a month later or so, $1070 for over $200 less.
Yeah. That's
Now this,
incredible. That's
you're gonna play
honestly
anything.
what I'm
on
looking
this.
at if I'm going to be doing any.
You're gonna play
in the
anything on
coming
this.
months,
Oh, I'm for
so-
sure getting this when it comes out.
Yeah.
I can wait till June, and then I'm gonna buy this
Yeah,
and
you-
slap it in, and I'll be fantastic.
It's 2.5 less.
If I feel
T-plus.
rich, I'll get
You've
this.
got
That's
low
about it.
expenses,
But I'm
pretty
getting one of
fancy
these.
job. So
I'm getting one of these. Is the
I'm
point.
looking at this in my future. As a
So if you're
possibility.
interested in building a PC, Lindy, I'm looking at you, or any of you guys there, if you're interested in building a PC, look at these because they're going to be something that's going to handle absolutely anything you're going to want to play at a fantastic price point. Now, this isn't just a PC Master Race slot because for those of you console gamers out there, this is an important
This
thing.
affects the entire market.
Because this affects the entire market in that we can look at this and say, here's the amount of power that you can release for this amount of money, and the console market for the future is going to be able to say, okay, well, here's a standpoint where we can look at to say what we can include in our next console release
Add
without
this much
bending you
money.
over
Little
and
bit.
forcefully inserting something into you, price-wise.
And the thing is, like, you can buy a console, for like
You can't afford that?
And that includes everything.
I think it's
to
cheap.
just run. You buy your console, then you buy your game. It's simple. It's more affordable than a PC,
Straightforward.
and it works. You buy the console, it works.
I think you'll.
You buy
I
a
think,
PC, you gotta be a little bit ahead of what the game is going to require.
It's not about you being able to afford it right now. The point is for how much power is in that card. That is substantially lower than it should be. But I don't know what they did, but they still managed to release that.
Okay.
So will it work with thumbtacks and duct tape? Probably not better, but I will say it will probably
I
work.
don't know, it's tough to say.
My guess is that it will work, but maybe not better.
Because, I mean,
Not
generally
as
you're
well.
going to want like some other
Maybe you'll
power
lose.
supply that's gonna
Maybe
be
you'll
good.
lose like 1 or 2 teraflops. Is all I'm saying.
Yes, that's an
What's up, Games Forever?
standard measure
Yeah,
of teraflops.
wearing the unicorn head again. This wasn't actually how the stream started, but
No,
Lindy
it
and
just
Crystal are
sorta
in here, and they complained about it, and then I put it on, and we're all happy now.
We just sort of stumbled
unicorn.
into it.
It just
Yeah,
happened. So anyways, welcome to the channel, Games. I don't know if you actually followed this channel or not, but we do this every week. So if you haven't followed and you like what you see, even if it's just the unicorn hat, give us a follow, and we'll
So,
see
yeah,
you next
when
week.
we're not talking about something interesting, we're rambling
Yeah, all the time.
or
Talk.
greeting
It's
people.
fine.
Dude, get one. I don't actually know where it happened. You said shit about the dress, though, and that's how the conversation progressed there. You're
It
not
just sort of
completely
happened. It's fine.
innocent.
I don't think you complained about it. It just sort of came up and I threw it at him.
But
So,
yeah, anyways,
then you put it
just to recap for any new viewers who might be in here, this is Shea. He is not Travis. They're two different people. Shea is more like this, and Travis is shorter and slightly wider. But hey, fuck it, I am too. But Shea is also kind of wider, amazingly somehow. I don't know how that works. But Travis is currently
Genetics.
at a concert watching.
We're all just people-shaped.
Watching the Offspring
The
play
musical
music and
bands.
some other bands. Yeah, people with instruments, and they're going ah and singing ah, and it's pretty
Yeah,
great.
that's pretty
So
cool.
instead, we got Shea, who's sitting here, and he's
Okay.
a great guy. And
Speaking
then
of bands, we were in a band for like a month.
yeah, and then Peter Portaventry over there. It's a sexual
They
joke.
were in a band.
Definitely not gay. My wife is actually in the comments.
Oh, Crystal, dude, don't. Crystal doesn't even care. He's an Apache attack helicopter. That's how he sexually identifies.
Yes.
He's
sure
just
that's-
I
he's
know
just
a few
questioning.
people.
He says apparently you're gay, but he's not. He's married to a woman, and I don't know if he's gay. You're doing a good job, dude. You're doing a good job of hiding it.
My wife would tell you
It's
that
like you really don't
with,
need to.
with,
at this
with my
point.
online
It's
friends.
becoming more and more
His wife might say he's
sociably
pretty gay.
acceptable. So
Yeah, but you're not the
People are more
boss,
comfortable.
Lindy. Oh hey, oh hey, as his wife says.
Hi.
So
hey, shout out.
let's move on to
Shoes.
shoes.
Choose.
Oh my god, shoes. Not super a news story, but something that I'm excited for, and you should be excited for too.
it's neat.
He's gay, she says.
Thank
He's
you.
pretty gay.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
wife.
he's gay, and I'm the one wearing the unicorn
Sorry,
hat,
dude.
so that's how you know. This
My
right
cover.
here,
Okay.
I'm
Clone.
so fucking stoked for. Nintendo has teamed up with Vans for an official Nintendo line of Vans shoes.
Cool.
Now, these are going to come in both classic flat fit and high top. But these are not the only models that you'll be seeing. These are just ones that they have announced. So there will be, in fact, an official Nintendo
Oof, we
lineup
got a
of
Vans
Vans
there.
What
shoes.
is the camera one? It just looks like a camera.
Which one? This one?
Yeah,
It's
Duck
got
Hunt.
Duck Hunt
Okay.
and ducks on
Okay.
it. So anyways, now I can expect these to maybe be priced slightly higher. This article doesn't say anything about.
You know, I think when they put out the Disney and Star Wars ones, they didn't make them any more expensive.
They didn't,
So about
but
like
it's
50.
Nintendo. It's Nintendo, separate entity. So I could see it maybe being a
I-
little higher. I'm hoping not.
Disney, I think, would squeeze out money more than
Yeah.
Nintendo.
you would
I'm,
think.
I'm hoping not.
And I
But
mean,
we'll
technically,
see.
Star Wars is Disney.
They are adorable, which is why I'm gonna buy some. I might even get the Princess Peach ones, dude.
Hot.
I don't care. They're hot, and Princess Peach is a bae, and I want her to bake me a cake, if you know what I mean. Fuck Vans. No, Crystal, Vans are fantastic. You just say that because you're Canadian. You don't have Vans there.
I'm Canadian too,
that
and I
mean-
like Vans.
Yeah,
Does
but
that mean
he's
you're
actually
envious?
he is
in
Canada
America.
though.
From Okay.
He is there right now. All he has is Tim Hortons, which by the way,
We're envious of Tim Hortons.
it's not.
better than Starbucks.
Shut up!
God, significant.
I want to pretend like I don't care because really I just want some poutine right now. I'm really hungry.
There's actually a poutine truck.
No, you want to eat her cake? That's what I mean.
Well, I mean,
Sexual
little bit-
innuendo
little bit of both.
innuendo.
Pretty sure it's
But,
fine.
there is a poutine truck.
Yeah, the Princess Peach ones are kawaii as fuck. And you know what? If you're good
So
and you
in the
behave
area, I'm
well,
guessing?
maybe I'll
Yeah,
get you some
they
for
do-
your birthday,
They do some stuff over
which is coming up soon, and I still know that. So, Lindy, yeah. So I'll eat Princess Peach's cake, and you guys don't get to judge me for it. Now our last news story, and the one that we're probably going to spend an exponential amount of time on.
Yeah, because this is actually fairly interesting. And
So this is a recent thing. So everything has a Hall of Fame nowadays. Fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, NASCAR Hall of Fame,
Sports ball
Hall of Fame, where you put the thing in the other thing
and get the points.
and get the
Boom,
points and win,
sports
and you wear
ball.
colors. But a general new thing is it's hard to say official, but as official, it's going to get Video Game World Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that just barely started last year. Now, I'm not going to move over to this just yet, we're going to discuss the games that were inducted into the I wear a 9. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. The games that were inducted this year into the Video Game Hall of Fame. Now, last year, and the inductees last year, was the very first year that this had ever happened and become a thing. And this has kind
Oh
of
my God,
become
we're at
widely
7.
accepted as the de facto Hall of Fame for
I don't
video
feel
games.
bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Sora and Cheryl take up all the
It's me.
spots.
You're
No.
not the weird one. I'm the weird one.
So,
Look at my earlobes.
the games that were inducted last
Itty
year,
bitty.
let me see if I can
So-
find the list. Last year, for the inaugural inductees, Pong, Pac-Man, Super Mario Bros., Tetris, Doom, and World of Warcraft. 6 games.
Are all deserving.
Now, it's pretty hard to argue that any of those are not at least deserving of being, possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
I don't think you can
They're
really say
all
any of those
iconic.
weren't iconic and impactful enough,
Incredibly.
and not Desmond's hat iconic.
Yeah, no.
Actual iconic.
Actually made an impact and is now just a very widely recognized as, boom, Pac-Man is a huge thing.
But they're games
Arcade
that
game
were
back
just
in the day.
they're so impactful.
Mario, boom.
Whether you like them or not, they've been impactful. They're good. They're well-selling games, and they were impactful for what they are in their genre, in their department, in their environment. I mean, World of Warcraft. Don't lie, it fucking
Huge.
revolutionized the
biggest
MMO.
and
It
so many
revolutionized the
MMOs come out of
MMORPG.
it
Okay,
from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
whether you like it or
MMORPGs.
not,
The MMORPGs.
it's like MMORPGs were like here, and then holy
World
fuck,
of
WoW
Warcraft.
came out, and then
And
now
it's
maybe
achieved
it's like
so
back
much
down
success.
here. Still fucking popular.
If they keep doing expansions because they have a consistent
They
player
still-
base and
they
wanna
still make
please
money
that,
on it.
and they want to. Yeah, they're a company. They want to make money too, but also please their fans.
They do
So-
it in a way that's not monetized as shit.
So, those are the games that were inducted last year. And we're going to take a moment for each of the inductees this
Yeah.
year and discuss whether we think it should have made it, why not, etc., etc.
If we're
But-
gonna just go ahead and pull this up, and we'll just scroll down. We'll leave it on.
As a
Yeah.
chat, well, let's go one at a time to like kind
Yeah,
of
definitely.
make sure to focus on each one. But as a chat topic, are there any games that you think deserve to be in this
Yeah, go
video
ahead and
game?
think about that. We're
drinking
gonna
poison.
talk about some of our
You
opinions
smoke.
too.
Shut your damn mouth, you smoker. What games, chat, do you think deserve to be inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame? Throw that in the chat.
I swear
Down
to
there.
God, if my wife says I am bred.
You say I am bread if you want to, Andy. You're a free person and you have the right to say what you want in this chat, except for anything that's against rules. Don't be a
Bread
dick.
is definitely a respectable game.
See, Lindy, I told you Zoo Tycoon
Zoo
would come up.
Tycoon.
I
Actually,
fucking told you.
If they're gonna do any of those, it's gonna be Roller Coaster Tycoon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the
I am
iconic
Brad.
Of
Tycoon
course.
game.
Gat
Yeah.
Life. Okay.
As far as dating sims,
So yeah, all those.
Pretty
But I mean, actual discussion about this is cool too. Any games that you actually
go
think
ahead and troll,
Go
do the
Sim.
memes. I don't care.
Really, Goat Sim?
Hey, best simulator game. Only simulator game I've ever
Have
played.
you
any
played
games that
Farm
you
Sim?
actually
No,
think
I'm sure it's actually pretty
deserve
solid.
to be in
I
the Video Game
watched,
Hall of Fame. And fuck it, if you actually think Zoo Tycoon should be in there, fine, whatever.
Yahtzee play that.
But let's go
Grind.
ahead.
Bear Simulator. That's another good one.
Honey Pop for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Honey Pop.
Absolutely, Honey Pop.
But let's go ahead and move over
Yeah,
and
okay.
discuss the first
Actual-
entry
Boom.
that actually won and has now been inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
Now, I want to kind of stress a point.
Vice City.
We'll see
was
from
big.
a game that's further down that it's kind of weird that
But-
sometimes they just pick a specific entry in
I
a
think
franchise.
This should be the top. This
Well,
is deserving,
that's
actually.
fine. That's fine. I just want to express
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
some first. It seems like some of this they're choosing whole series,
Some.
and then
Yes.
some of this they're choosing
There's
specific games from the series. So just understand that going into
We'll
this.
discuss on maybe some of the reasons why.
To be fair with this one, I understand this one because it was the first super really popular Grand Theft Auto game.
Nope, lost all faith in this Hall of Fame. Well, you can say
This
that, but
was
you're
revolutionary.
it-
just
This
because
was
of
like
one game.
The first 3D open world kind of. You do what you want. You can be a villain.
It
You are a
revolutionized
villain.
what this series is today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 3 was the game that said we can have an open world aesthetic. It can be a large game environment. It's not just some
Modern,
top-down,
crime-driven, do whatever you
It's
want.
not just some top-down, shooty, gunny bullshit. You're you're a character.
The OGs
And
of Grand Theft
You're a
Auto.
real person.
You're gonna go
you
steal
have
cars. You're gonna go shoot
real
people in the
missions.
face. You're gonna go buy prostitutes. You're gonna go do all these
And then
great
kill
things
him
for
and
you.
get
and
your
then,
money
yeah.
back.
The Grand Theft Auto 3 was the game that kind of really pushed
And it-
off.
It
the
succeeded
series.
despite all of the controversy that enveloped it, because it released and it was just like, oh, this is incredibly mature and
It basically is
Yes,
what
it's rated M.
it's what has
Games were not
freaking-
really rated M very often.
It's what has
No.
every government
Not at the time.
agency watching us because
Oh, yeah.
video games are suddenly violent and
This
they
is-
cause
yeah,
mass
part
killing
of that.
sprees and
that whole
everything
issue.
else. So-
Skate
Vice
3?
City
Sure.
was probably like, they touched up on a lot of the mechanics. It was bigger, it was maybe more popular. If you're
But
looking back
honestly,
at this
I think-
title,
Honestly,
but 3,
I
think-
prefer Vice City.
I think Vice City will end
But
up.
3 was first,
if they're
and
gonna-
3 made the push that said this is a
Exactly.
worthwhile
And
game
if-
franchise.
It's just
if
definitely why it's
they're
first.
only going to choose one series to induct, I think Grand Theft Auto 3 is the more deserving.
Yes, and I think that. I don't think. See, when I look at this Hall of Fame, I look at the games. I don't think they're just saying these games are the greatest games.
No.
I
There's
think
a
they're looking
reason.
at these games are good or
I
great,
think
and they also had this level of impact in the game industry or in the genre or whatever. This is they're
Exactly.
going to be
There was a
inducting like
huge
5 to 6
event
games
that
per
came
year
out of all of this,
every
so.
year. So it's not like games are going to get left out, But as far as this, Snowboard Kids, fuck yes. Thank you, Lindy.
1080.
Snowboard Kids.
1080.
1080.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy knows what he's talking about.
But yes, I can see. Honestly, I'd agree with this entry. This Grand Theft Auto, out of all of them,
I think
is the one that
Yeah.
deserves most to be in this, simply for the fact of what it did for Grand Theft
it
Auto
was
as a
first,
series.
it was
Well,
big. it
games as a
succeeded
whole,
through
it's sort of
controversy.
it pushed the envelope as far as controversial games go.
Yes,
and-
controversial games as well.
And then they
It's-
followed up with a great sequel. Well,
Yes.
not a sequel.
Now-
but Vice City just
Now,
boom.
is this my
continuation.
favorite Grand Theft Auto? No, San Andreas is my favorite Grand Theft
was a
Auto.
good one.
San Andreas was the one that I put 500, 600 hours into San Andreas.
And maybe that's just a better game.
I rented it from
Grand Theft Auto 3,
Blockbuster and
but
stole it and never
those are
returned
the
it.
reasons.
Sorry, Mom. I did.
What is a blockbuster?
Yeah, exactly, right? I rented that game, never returned it, and owned
It's
it,
an
and
ancient-
played it.
It's an ancient ruin.
Fend as a game, but it did not do what Grand Theft Auto 3 did in terms of expanding a genre, in terms of solidifying the series as, hey, this is a game that fucking it means something.
Which we've talked about the same sort of impact of Modern Warfare changed the entire formula of Call of Duty and started a whole
Absolutely.
thing of like, oh, this is successful, this is what people want to play, and there's a lot of shooter clones of Call of Duty Modern
Yeah,
Warfare.
it's kind of one of those. Which Call of Duty do you remember as the first Call of Duty? Most people are going to tell you Modern Warfare. Same
Big
thing
Red
with Grand
one.
Theft Auto. How many people do you know that have actually played the first 2 Grand Theft Auto games? Not very many even know they exist.
Yeah,
So,
they're top-down, like, NES kind of style
Garbage.
graphics,
Yeah.
yeah. And they're
Fucking
neat.
Nintendo games, dude.
But they're, top-down, run around, shooting, direction shooter,
do
Anyways,
things and stuff.
So we can see, obviously,
Get-
some of
get
you
the
guys
points for
don't
cranking
agree
stuff.
with Grand Theft Auto to be in here. Now, is that just because you don't like it as a game? Or is, like, I'm just because you
And
don't think it
maybe
deserves to be in here, I
It
don't
doesn't
think you're
deserve
biased.
to be an inaugural,
But I want to know
induction,
why.
but I think it definitely deserves it
Because-
at some point. They chose
Yes.
to do it the very first.
I think
And
There's-
I think second week induction probably not. They
debatable.
probably could have gone older, more revolutionary games.
They could have,
But
Yeah.
they chose this, and that's fine. I think it deserves a spot.
Yeah, there's really no arguing that this game was impactful
At
and
least
meaningful
that, yeah.
to the series and to the genre and to the
Yeah,
ability
if
to
they're gonna
have.
do that. They're going to eventually.
Why
create
isn't
some
Mortal
sort of
Kombat in
I
there?
would agree.
I could see
That's what
I could see Mortal Kombat.
They're
It'll-
probably going to do that at some point.
I could see that because Mortal Kombat had the same kind of thing in that it impacted a genre as a whole. Fighting games would not
Doom
be what
was
they
a
are
part of that whole
without Mortal Kombat.
maturity
Yep.
thing
It's,
too. So.
it's one of the only Super Nintendo games to be rated higher than E.
Mhm.
Right.
So
And
Yeah.
aside from Doom being like the whole controversial maturity, gory, it was a really successful 2.5D shooter.
kind
It
of
set that whole thing,
revolutionized
which was-
MSRP as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, and then Grand
Doom has
Theft
its own
Auto
reasons.
San Andreas kind of was like, oh, you need a new rating. Because these guys are going to do it in the game.
It's gonna be a secret, but not a very hard secret to find.
Get over here! Yeah, Scorpion is OP.
Still, to this day,
Depends
Shanks him,
on
though.
the game.
agreed.
Most OP, because you're every character.
Yeah.
You do what you want.
Or you can be OP and be Ferritor, hitlock everyone.
Yeah. Either way. Just be whatever you want. So, yeah, and as far as fighting games go, I could see that being, one that should very highly be considered.
It'll absolutely
if
make
you're
its way
just
in
going to
there.
go off of
If
the
we're going just fighting
fighting
games,
game, probably
I have to
Street
go
Fighter
with
2.
Yes, I was just about to say
That's
I have
gonna
to go with
make it.
Street Fighter.
just to represent fighting
Not even
games
two.
as a whole.
Not even two. Just
Yeah,
Street
yeah.
Fighter.
as a whole.
Street Fighter 2 was the revolution of it.
Turbo.
So Street Fighter Turbo, yeah, the kind of re-release update.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Street Fighter 1 was more just like an arcade game. It had the ideas.
It was,
built on
but-
it was very basic. There was like
Yeah. Okay. I
one
understand
character
why you're expecting
versus one other character. So 2, I think, was the refined. Like this is going to define what comes. with
Yeah. See,
fighting
Crystal
games.
agrees with you, Peter, and I understand your reasoning behind that, but I don't know. I could go either way. One was more impactful than you think.
It was
One
I think.
still came out and gave people the desire to even give a shit about fighting games.
And then 2 was the answer of just like, okay, there's been a discovered interest. This is a potential game genre.
Yeah, and it
Let's
did-
do that.
It did
Yep.
a very good job with
And-
the series.
I think it defines just the origins.
I think we could agree that it could go either way. Both of them are
Definitely.
fairly
So
deserving.
We can discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, we can discuss that because one of those, some sort of Street Fighter,
Potato Man,
is going to be
Lindy.
in this at some point, and then the Hall of Fame.
This is for Potato Man. That game is god awful. F Potato Man. It deserves a Razzie, but the video game version.
A moment of awkward.
I'm in a moment of
Potato
silence.
Man.
So, anyways, let's move on to the next game, guys.
Yeah.
And this one is going to be hard for any of you guys to disagree with. You're welcome to, but I want to know solid reasoning behind it. The Legend of Zelda. The OG Legend of Zelda. If you don't think this deserves to be here, I think you're wrong,
It is the
but I
most
want to
selling
know why.
Game on release, right? Something like that.
It,
Most
it
copies.
has some really high accolades like
So,
that.
I mean,
But the simple
there's that.
fact is, this game launched one of the most successful video game series and longest running
Yep.
video game series
too.
of all time.
And so parallel with like Mario, because they put out Nintendo back in the day had their ideas of let's do a side scroller platformy thing, and let's do a world exploring top down thing, and they made 2 different ideas, 2 different IPs, and both are incredibly huge today.
Okay, let me take a moment because you're asking, Lindy. I hate Potato Man because I spent $4 on it. If it was free, I would love Potato Man. The video was funny, the game was fine. I
Good
hate it because I
game
spent
trailer.
$4 on
Good
it.
game trailer.
Because I got my $4 back, I hate it less. But it's just hilarious to hate it because you hate that I hate it.
Yeah, at that point, that's what it is.
So, anyways,
So-
Crystal, you do agree that
This
it belongs
definitely
here.
deserves to be
This-
here. I think this is a well done inaugural. Like,
I
this
think-
deserves a
I think
first
if this wasn't
round.
here, that it would be safe to
Now-
doubt.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
validity
Yes,
of
I
this
need to
whole-
stress. I need to
Exactly.
stress. This
Exactly.
was actually included in the very first one. Let me see where it says.
We got
Several of these winners made the list of finalists last year, but failed to make the final 6, including The Legend of Zelda, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Space Invaders. So some of these games, I kind of spoiled one, but that's fine. Some of these games made it to the finalists last year, but just didn't come through. Now,
And
of
they'll
all the
find
ones,
a place at some point, I'm sure.
yes, of all the ones in this list, I feel like this is the hardest one to dispute its rightful place there.
Aside from maybe Pong or Mario.
Well, of this year,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
of this year. I think out of the ones this year, this is the hardest one to dispute. But I'm genuinely curious if one of you guys thinks it shouldn't be there. Why?
Yeah, I don't think there's. That's not.
Legend of
popular
Zelda, I
opinion.
say trumps Mario and Sonic. I don't think it trumps Mario Bros. Original. Mario Bros.
That
made
was
video
a
games.
Huge,
Yeah.
Mario Bros.
I think-
Mario Bros. Lets us have video games today.
I think if it's gonna trump Mario, it's gonna be strictly on a personal basis.
Yes, on a personal basis, that's fine.
It's
I
personal
don't.
opinion.
I don't
But just
agree
the-
that it trumps
the impact
period.
that Mario Bros. Had on just gaming as a medium at all.
Yeah.
It began the whole gaming console marketed to the family,
Like
marketed
yes,
to
yeah,
kids.
that's exactly what it was.
That's what it was. It was
Pong,
probably one of the biggest things.
Pong
Is like the
kind of
first-
introduced the idea, the concept
Yes.
of you can have video games at home.
Yeah, here's
but
a video.
it did not.
Like you can
It
do a
did not
thing,
solidify.
and it will
it.
change what happens.
Video
on video
games were still
Do the
considered,
thing.
like
Super taboo.
yeah, well, not even taboo, just like it's a pipe dream,
Yeah.
pun intended for Mario.
Ah.
Mario Bros. Came out and on that console, and people said, "Holy shit! I actually can have video games in my house."
Not just going down to the arcade, putting a thing.
And not
in.
just something that's back and forth on like an
Yeah.
actual playable game where you
that has
do
progression.
things.
Yeah, so no, I don't think Zelda trumps Mario Bros. In terms of, I guess,
Overall impact and
impact
importance
and
on the
place on the
gaming
list.
industry.
In a personal level, it surely can, because honestly, I enjoyed the
prefer the
original.
Zelda- I prefer the Zelda games over Mario.
I prefer them, but in terms of impact, no. Like
Just as
we could still have video games today, and Zelda could not exist. It'd be less of a fun world. It'd be less enjoyable.
I wonder what might have taken place, or what might not have been inspired by some of the Zelda games.
Well,
and we would
and
We'd probably have
to-
Potato Man 12. He seeks the truth again, but then eats pizza instead.
To relate into that, games that followed in its footsteps, the original Breath of Fire for Super Nintendo is one that's basically the same game, just a little bit different.
And just-
He's got blue hair,
Wrong
and
place, wrong
red
time.
clothes.
and that could have been the whole.
It
big
could have
thing.
been the one.
That could have been
Wrong
the
place,
one.
wrong time.
Breath
Yep.
of Fire, Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
So, anyways, this one is really hard,
Maybe.
but
Maybe.
the actual impact that Zelda has had on gaming as a whole,
It was huge.
huge, absolutely huge.
Mario Bros.
Kind of defined a genre, more or less,
Was
in terms
ridiculous.
of like an overworld type adventure game.
Which they strayed away from a little bit.
I'd rather have Minecraft than Sand.
than fucking Sonic. But what about
Yeah.
Sonic Spin 2006, Wendy? What about that?
No,
Does that
see,
deserve a place?
Minecraft is big, and it probably
Sonic Boom, though.
it deserves a spot on here at some point.
I'd say no, actually.
No,
But
Minecraft has
I don't
had
know.
a huge impact. And
What-
It's got its own thing. There's not really
well,
anything else
Minecraft
like
has
it.
had a huge impact on Minecraft. Now, give me your opinion if you think I'm wrong. What industry-wise has Minecraft had an impact on?
Microtransactions.
Boom. Oh.
No, no. Freemium. It's
Well, there's a whole popular community.
the
for
meme is Latin
YouTube.
food, not really.
There's
But
a lot of like modding. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
having your own, hosting your own Minecraft world.
Minecraft is Minecraft.
The whole multiplayer
Yes.
thing. The whole. There just is a lot.
I just
to
see-
it. The whole crafting system.
There is.
So many games
There's
have adopted
so
the
much.
crafting system and the exploration.
I really don't think
And-
Minecraft had an impact really
think
on
it's
anything
huge.
except itself. It is huge.
It's.
But
it
I really
deserves
just want
a
to
spot
know
at
what
some point.
I really just want
I
to know
f-
what did Minecraft
Well,
outside of itself have an impact on? Like you said, YouTube.
New games
New
adapting
games.
adapting the crafting feature.
Everything-
such
everything
as
has a
Fallout
crafting
4.
feature.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Fallout is a huge series that boom now has crafting. Well, it
Fallout
might-
had crafting.
it's evolved
But more
a bit, and
more
now
in-depth
Okay.
crafting.
I understand
you can
that.
Set up.
What else?
Just the
What else?
sheer scope of the game is
Mhm.
absolutely huge.
Yeah, I mean in terms of what you can do, but that's because it's literally it is a
And
sandbox.
it's-
There's
it's-
sandbox games.
Okay, this
And
this
then
is like
there's
the epitome of sandbox.
sandbox
of like,
games.
There's no objective. You do what you want.
You do whatever the fuck
explore,
you
and
want.
you build shit. That's another thing. People have been incredibly creative.
Yeah, and, like,
they've come together and
Crystal
built,
sees where I'm
like
coming
real
from,
life,
you know.
kind of scope.
So
things,
obviously,
like-
either way, you can see it. I just feel like Yes, I think it was impactful, but I think its biggest impact
would agree
was
with
really
that.
on
At
its
this point, there's updates
Pokemon
now.
much before Minecraft, I would agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Minecraft deserves
I'm
spot
not-
at some point.
I'm not.
At some point, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest impact it did have. Minecraft coming out had, I guess, a pretty big impact on like YouTube/Twitch. I
A
guess.
few things now that Minecraft has evolved into. Have you seen the game theory where you actually program a phone because there's things?
I saw it.
And game theory, they call and order a pizza using what a phone they built in Minecraft, like a functional thing.
The game
So,
had to be modded, but
It's official mods now,
Yeah.
where some blocks have game code in them, and you can essentially code and write up your own anything at all, as if you were just on your keyboard typing in code in a code format. You can create anything in Minecraft now.
So
and
Crystal
that's
can see it being like
incredible
way in the future, which
in the future.
yeah, I can
I'm-
see that because we've still yet to
Exactly.
see the full impact of it.
True.
And definitely no
True.
game has done
And there
what
are
Minecraft
some
did.
games that are more deserving to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Before.
Right.
I'm not a believer, and I need to be made a believer that it deserves to be there because I really just the most of the impact I see on itself as a game.
Fair, and that's maybe why I'm highlighting it as something that deserves it, is because there's nothing else.
Can't
that's
order
really been
pizza
like
playing Pokemon. Fuck you. Yes, I can.
Boom.
I order.
Thank you.
Let me pull out my phone, open my emulator, and then while I'm playing that, order a pizza.
Yeah, you're gonna go to a different tab on your phone. Yeah, yeah,
Google voice commands, bitch.
yeah. It's gonna close your Pokemon.
Fuck up.
Yeah, and then open up your phone. Okay. Anyway,
How's
Minecraft-
making it?
Minecraft's just unique. and
Crystal, the point he's making is
It's got
that
a
that's
huge
not a
impact,
thing
and
you
there's
could do
not-
in a game before.
yeah,
That's how open
it's,
it is.
It's more like a tool at this point where you can do whatever you want. It's not necessarily a game.
Kind of like
could save your life.
kind of like 3D printing.
Yeah, Crystal, it could save your
3D printing
life.
is incredible and its
So
own thing, and it
here's-
only really impacts itself, but it's incredible, and there's nothing else really like it, and that's why I think it deserves a spot.
And that's fine. I can see that. I'm just not a believer yet, and I'll have to be made a believer in the future if I.
To be fair, I've never personally played through Minecraft.
You don't
So,
have
so
dude, I got so bored. It's not for me, but I can respect it.
Now here is the
I do
zoo.
have that.
Here's the zoo tycoon of the
Yes.
list.
No,
The memeiest one.
No, this deserves it.
I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. I'm saying it's memey.
There's a lot of memes out there.
It's the most memeiest game.
God, it is. Okay,
Fucking
dysentery.
Oregon Trail. You died of dysentery. If you
This is
ever
like a choose
honestly,
your own adventure.
yes. I don't remember who it was
Game.
calling us old earlier. We're fucking old because
Yes.
I played this game in school
Yep.
when I
tree, you know, because that was a
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
because I dicked around and didn't want to do work. Fucking Oregon Trail. Honestly, I don't. This one I could see going either way. I don't
think
know.
It's fairly important
In
to
terms-
the game
in terms
industry,
of-
but also just as a cultural shared. Oh, this is a game.
I think-
You're Canadian, Crystal. You wouldn't have heard of
Exactly.
it. Oregon is a state in America
Yeah.
where there's a Washington kind of over there, and
We live in Utah.
you know, and it rains sometimes.
state.
There's people there, surprisingly, and
California
trees. There's lots of
is a
trees.
state.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think this game, as far as impactfulness today, it's sort of paved the way for what is now Telltale Games
Kinda. I see.
to an extent.
I look at it as I think maybe
really
they're
could have
looking
taken
at
that
it.
as inspiration of
Yeah,
just
maybe.
storytelling was really the only feature in the game.
See,
Decision making.
I could go it either way because I think maybe they're trying to look at it in terms of its impact on text-based adventures, which Oregon Trail was.
This is the epitome of text-based adventures.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I would say that though. There's other fantastic
Oh yeah,
text-based
yeah.
adventures.
This is probably the
This-
widest
just
known.
OG.
It's like
It's
if
not
you're
the
gonna
OG.
take-
It's
No.
not the first one.
If you're gonna take,
It's just one of the best. Well,
It's
most. I don't know if it's even the most well-known one,
Maybe
but
not.
it
I
could be
can't
up there.
think of any others off the
It
top
could
of my
be
head.
up there. But
It's
either
just
way,
one of those where it's a story-driven,
I can see it.
kind of some RNG bits, text decision making.
I'm not gonna say this one doesn't deserve it, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm very close to the edge.
It could
A little
have gone in
surprised
later, and
later,
I wouldn't
yeah.
have been offended.
I think it's a little bit.
Taught me how
strange
many
that it
oxen I need
was-
to travel the Oregon Trail. However fucking many you want, as long as you're willing to die of dysentery.
Yeah, it's It's a possibility.
Canada has more trees than Oregon.
Absolutely.
Learn your math. No, Canada's like this big, dude. Right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Right?
It's this big.
It's like
And
this-
then all of America's like
Yeah.
all around the world.
Have you ever looked at a map, dude?
Yeah, I mean, you got like some of Asia over here, and you got some of Asia over here.
I mean,
or here.
Canada is not the number one U.S. country in the world. That's all I'm saying.
It's not
The United States is the
Yeah,
number
I'm
one
not
U.S.
gonna
country in
promote
the world.
U.S.
So I'm all I'm saying.
Then it's I've
You don't
memed
beat us
enough.
there.
I want to move on.
And also that the trail is a cruel mistress and disease can strike at any time. Yeah. Herpes, gonorrhea, oh, is that not
no,
what we're
those
talking
are
about?
Those
Different?
Are
Okay, sorry.
different diseases.
Sorry, so, I don't know. I think a pretty good consensus here is that, yeah, we can see
think
this
this
game
is a
being
good
here.
Representation of text-based
It's
adventure,
not the worst.
decision-making, choose-your-own-adventure style.
It's not the worst,
No.
and it's definitely near the top at least.
So I think this deserves a spot to represent those style of games. It's very early in the Hall of Fame.
Doesn't Half-Life deserve a place?
Maybe. As far
And
as
it's-
revolutionary shooters, I think
Yes.
Half-Life
In
is
its-
going to hit
in
it
its own
at
right.
some point.
In its own right, in terms
We'll get there.
and I'm not even saying in terms of a good game because like yes, Half-Life was good, but it's not one of I personally wouldn't play
There's
it as
a
one
lot
of
of
the greatest
story.
games of all
In it. There's a
time.
lot of new ways to present story through.
You didn't
the
know your
gameplay.
medical history? Shut up! I only have 2 of those. Your guess as to which one. The unicorn has the other one. Even revolutionize is a strong word, but had a high impact on shooters. And
I think at the time
within
this
shooters,
was-
it also has its own subgenre.
It really
in terms of that subgenre-
it kind of created
Yes.
that at least.
In terms of its subgenre, it kind of created that subgenre, yes. And I don't know, great game, and has created one of the biggest
Honestly,
video
some
game
the
memes of all
physics that
time.
have come in, I think, just the following of Half-Life
Yeah,
2, like the gravity gun,
Half-Life.
just including that
Yes.
and Portal, including the different
Yes.
shooter games.
Half-Life had a
gun.
huge impact on physics engines, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was one
And
of the big things, and that's the thing you have to
big.
look at. That's the thing you have to look
Obviously, Hep C.
at. Obviously, Hep C? No, B. Fuck off me. So, let's go ahead and move on to this one now. This is the one I brought up earlier in terms of not a specific
I think these
game.
are just expansions for The Sims, like the.
Well, way to give it away, but I'll go over here.
Oh, you
The
didn't
Sims!
pull it up yet. My bad.
But this is what I was talking about.
But are The
We'll
Sims?
see. No, because like this is
Isn't that all?
not an
These are just
expansion
expansions
for.
for The Sims, aren't they?
No.
Isn't every Sims game an expansion for The Sims?
Unless you
But
default
no,
from
because
3
like
to
The Sims
4.
PS2 is a standalone game to like this and
Okay.
this and this. So I think they're looking more as a series overall because literally all they said was The Sims.
Honestly, yeah.
Whereas like Grand Theft
There's-
Auto, they specifically said Grand Theft Auto 3.
Okay, there's simulator games, but this is just a general like life simulator game where you get your little lemmings, you tell them what to do, and they do stuff. And there's not a game that's like this.
Obviously, Lindy is
that
not
wouldn't
happy
just
about this
be
entry.
Why?
I don't know, but she just hates. She hates
This
people.
honestly appeals to people who might not be interested in like really any other style of video game.
How has The Sims impacted anything outside? Because
It-
well, so
it-
hear me out. Hear me out. The Sims really created the genre as a whole, but wasn't able to impact anything outside of the genre because it is the
so
genre.
niche.
It is the
There's-
genre. There is no other game that has tried to thrive in this genre that The Sims sits in was able to
They're the
thrive
monopoly.
because The
They're
Sims
the
was
only
it.
one.
The Sims was it. So I could see why you're saying that, Lindy, but it literally created and defined a genre.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think Minecraft
I-
is deserving. It's huge. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. The Sims is huge. It's something. It's been going on for a long time. There's a lot.
Yeah, Peter literally just said the thing you typed in chat. Like it,
Oh, me.
I'm less willing to call Minecraft a genre.
It's still early on.
I'm
Sims has
less
been around,
I'm
it's
less
been
willing to call
established.
Minecraft a genre because I don't think Sandbox is a genre. I think Sandbox is
It's a type.
I don't even know if it's. I mean,
Not
it's
even a
sandbox,
feature,
but I think
but-
it's not. It's devolving from an actual game now at this point to a building or creative
Mm-hmm.
tool.
like I said, I'm willing to become a believer for Minecraft. I'm just not yet. But
And that's okay.
The Sims literally created and defined a genre and is the genre now.
It is. That's
if
all
you
it
want
is.
to play a life simulator game, it's either this or Second Life, and you
There's-
can't fucking play Second
Second
Life
Life.
because people will hate you and they'll say mean
Basically.
things about you.
Yeah. Well, those are all like entirely online. I think there's like in-game purchases or whatever, something like that. and they're supposed to be dating sims that are like the Sims games.
I honestly hate the Sims now too, but I can see why it's here.
It's okay. If you don't have to like the Sims, I don't care. I don't really play them much either. Sims 3, probably the best Sims game.
I haven't played
There's
Sims 3.
a lot to it. There's a lot of expansions.
Sims 3 is phenomenal as far as a Sims
I
game.
put-
Huge in scope. You've got your house setting like normal. You go to your work, your job, or whatever. But there's also an entire town. You can walk outside of your house in this game. And you go
Tatsumi
down the street.
Memorial? I don't know your obscure Japanese games. They're probably great, but I don't know them. I'm not
Maybe.
actually kawaii. I just wear a unicorn
That's
hat.
true. He's pretending.
Like revolutionized dating sim?
Oh.
Sure.
As far as
actually,
dating sims
I do
go.
know.
Dating sim
what
is a different
Sim
genre
is.
than sim sim.
Yeah, it is, and that's why it seems like Second Life has Sims elements, but it's like a dating sim.
But yeah, like I honestly, I kind
but
of
it's
hate.
like an online.
I hate the Sims at this point
person-to-person
too.
dating sim. It's weird.
I hate the Sims at this point too. But the Sims for PS2, which was on there, I fucking put like 400 hours into that game.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's more than I've ever put into the total. Okay, no. The Black Eyed Peas Sims game.
Ha!
What is that one?
I don't
Herbs
know.
in the City.
Yeah.
Sims Herbs in the City.
Mhm.
Best Sims game.
By far.
Best Sims game. I like that one. I played it a lot. I like Sims 3. It's huge in scope, and it's like this
Yeah,
is everything
it's true.
that was ever good about the Sims. Sims 3 is the one.
At least you
Yes.
control on Second Life. you
Yes,
just
Earl.
can't do it on
I
Twitch.
I didn't know what
Don't
you were
even
talking
mention
about.
Second
yeah.
Life. We're gonna get banned, and it's gonna be our fault and
Our
not
own
Lindy's.
fault.
And it has to be Lindy's fault if we're gonna get banned. So yeah,
You have to have some.
I guess. Bottom line, I can see why Sims is here. I don't.
As an inaugural entry.
It can be.
No, it's
later.
not inaugural.
It's-
We already had the
okay,
first
so
one.
this is the follow-up.
This is year 2. All of these games are year 2. None of these are inaugural
It's-
games.
Why
it's
wasn't
another-
Zelda on year 1?
Zelda was there but didn't
On the
win.
ballot.
Didn't win. Okay. Let's
don't know
take
why.
a look
I
at
don't know
what
why.
was on year 1
We
at
did.
some point.
You weren't listening.
I wasn't listening. Oh, we're not going through a list like this anyway.
Yeah, no, I brought up every single
didn't
game that
talk
was on
about
here. We didn't go
in-depth or-
just because
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
the discussion at this point, and
okay. That's fine. Yeah,
this is the
it's
guided.
totally-
So, anyways, we can move on. I think the general consensus is we can understand why it's here. Whether you agree
Yeah.
that it should be or not, is up
It's
to
a-
you.
for me.
But it
kind of
did
a-
define a genre.
It's kind of a subjective.
It's a big thing.
Deserved.
So now's the one that Lindy is going to be really pissed
Okay.
about.
Yep. Yep.
I have some
Sonic
negative opinions
the
on this.
Hedgehog.
Because Sonic.
Sanic.
Gotta go Fatser.
So Sonic is like the epitome of.
Now I want
full-on-
McDonald's. God damn.
They looked at Mario and the Nintendo success and went, "Let's make a character that's as popular as Mario, and make 1,000 games. We don't care about the quality. We don't care. We don't even care
She's
about
done.
our own
She's
character
done. I'm out.
universe. Like that's Sonic.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
what
know.
it is to me. That's what I see.
Sonic-
Believe it or not,
And Nintendo, Travis put this like months ago in a Super Smash discussion I had with him, is Nintendo has shown more respect for Sonic the Hedgehog than Sega has.
they have.
And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I agree with that actually.
See, you guys are probably not gonna like me for this one, but I'm actually kind of a little more with Lindy.
Yeah? What did
I-
you get?
I'm not a huge fan of Sonic being here.
No.
I love Sonic, and he's an
I
iconic
think
character.
He's an iconic
As a
character.
character,
Some
but-
of the original games did feature some unique mechanics and just world in general, and that's respectable. Those are good games. I like
Yeah.
to watch the speed runs.
I don't see the
But,
impact
yeah.
that Sonic has really had on the
No,
gaming
he was-
industry.
Really just riding the coattails of Mario.
He was.
He was.
Which he did a good job.
He was
He rode the
Sega's-
fuck out of those
Yeah,
coattails.
and he's
Sega's
a huge
replacement.
thing because of it.
Sonic revolutionized what not to do in video games. Maybe that's why he's there. Ugliest dumbass character ever.
There's a lot of memes that spread from it. He's
Gotta
a
go
big fan.
Fatser. However, okay, and we've brought this up before, but I will tell you, go check out the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter.
Yeah,
Best
Twitter.
fucking Twitter account in
They're
existence.
fantastic.
Some guy gets paid to do memes all day. I want that job.
That's a great.
So, but Lindy, I'm not as much of a hater on it as you, because you just drank your haterade this morning. But I'm kind of like, I could live without Sonic being on this list.
Yeah,
I could.
I don't. This is the first entry I look and I go, maybe this didn't really deserve it because what did it?
because Mario's already there, and it was just a competitor.
See, Crystal,
what
Mario
it was.
is over Sonic. Mario made it first year to inaugural.
It deserves first year too. So
I don't see Frogger as being on there either. Frogger's not that
I
great.
think Frogger. It's good. It's an
Arcade-wise.
arcade game that made the transition into actual game.
Is this even real
consoles.
life?
I think
Frogger may actually end up here at some point.
Yeah, Crystal. Mario Bros. Made the first inaugural list. I read that off when I went through.
Yeah.
So,
I do remember that part.
but yeah, so
there is a game that I believe, maybe even just on a biased opinion, deserves here over Sonic, and that's the Bubsy series.
fucking Bubsy.
Bubsy was its own thing. I mean, it took it and went, hey, side scrollers. Yeah, that's cool.
And
Let's turn it into
characters.
like
Interesting characters.
3D world and not just
yeah.
as one-dimensional.
Yeah, Bubsy had some personality.
Undertale
and it
over
was
Sonic.
Kind of like a competitor.
Undertale is one that we knew we were going to discuss.
We were. Probably, it's one of the most successful
Bucket.
independent games
And
that's
Bucket.
ever been.
Let's discuss
It's
it
got
right now.
incredible writing and characters
I think
and character personality.
I think Undertale does not deserve it right now.
Maybe not.
I think Undertale deserves it in the future.
It's
and I
gonna
know
hold
that
up.
sounds a little weird.
It will be there in the
It's
future.
gonna-
I would
it's
agree
gonna
with
become
Donkey
a
Kong
classic.
as well.
I think it's going to be there in the future. I don't think
Kong
it is going to
is-
happen now,
yeah,
and don't
it's
think it
gonna
should
be there.
happen.
Donkey Kong Country.
One of those.
in particular.
Yeah. One of the Donkey Kong side
Yeah.
scrollers is going to be there. I'm not too knowledgeable of the series as a whole to say this is the one that represents all of Donkey Kong Country and this had the most impact and this is going to be the Hall of Fame representative. I don't know which one that's going to be.
I don't know. Donkey Kong is probably
a good
another
series.
one where I'd be on the edge
Iconic
and you'd have to
character.
convince me.
I think one of them's going to end
It's
up
a-
in here.
It's a great game.
It's essentially reverse Mario. So
It's
I
a
can
great game,
understand.
but in terms of impact, you'll have to convince me.
Exactly.
Of the impact.
Like I don't know enough about the Donkey Kong series to say which one, but I think it's a big enough series. Something will probably show up in the Hall of Fame. I
Yes,
think.
Lindy. Undertale is overhyped by fanboys,
It is.
but
There's
caveat.
a good reason.
There's a
for
good
the
reason.
hype.
It's honestly like
It holds up.
in terms of the ability of an indie game by a small developer. Let me fucking tell you, one person who had kind of
Tony
help from
Foxboy.
friends made this game.
He had like help from like one friend.
No,
and
he
it
had
was very
help.
small.
He had help from a bunch of
Yeah.
friends in terms of like
Maybe.
character designs and suggestions and stuff like that. But he
Suggestions.
was the one that made the game.
Yeah.
So yes, a development team of one, but it really just showed that like you do not you can have the exact opposite of AAA development and still make a fucking fantastic
If you
game.
make a quality anything that has merit and respects itself, you just need to be
Yeah,
discovered.
one guy in his friend's basement, and no game really has done what Undertale did in terms of
Not
how
in
you
a
play the game.
long Time.
Yeah.
No, I don't think ever in terms of how you play the game.
Earthbound was a lot like that. There's a lot of inspiration that came
Yeah,
from
yeah,
that
I
kind
can
of
see
thing.
that. I think
And
it's
Undertale did its
different.
own
I think it's different
shit.
enough that it gets in its own category in terms of not necessarily the atmosphere of the game, because the atmosphere I think is really what mostly took from Earthbound.
Yeah.
But in terms of how you play the game and the mechanics and like the RPG style and with the like
It's-
Undertale's a game that can only be on PC.
If you're talking like the psychological aspect of it, of like, oh, how did this game seem personified? How did you remember these things that I did in the past? Like that was a huge shock when I played it. It was like, whoa, that's the kind of game, that's the experience I'm going to have? Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. All right, so the TVs at the time had like the little green bar. You change the channel, it goes up and down. You got your volume and whatever. You got your static screen back in your box TVs. Eternal Darkness had a sanity meter, and if the character sanity was starting to go low, your game would start to like glitch out intentionally at some point. And one of the ones that got me was when the volume bar appeared and started to go down, and the game muted itself.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Because it looked exactly like my television volume bar. So it got me because I was like, what just happened?
See,
It created that like real kind of psychological effect on like, whoa.
which is really cool
Whoa.
and
Undertale
freaky as shit.
did that really well.
I don't think it's
But it's
fair
not
to
the
say
only
there's
one in that
nothing
aspect.
innovative about it. I think, yes, the innovation is overhyped. The innovation is overhyped. And the game is overhyped.
But
it's still
have
fantastic, and there is innovation. Like, in the combat style, and
entirely unique.
no game has ever done that combat style before. Find me one. Find me one.
It takes elements of like a bullet hell, but that's it's also an
It's
RPG.
a combination of all of that.
Exactly,
though.
and there's
And
decision
no
making
game did that before.
turn-based involved in that, and it's its own
And
thing. It really
it's just,
is.
I don't think any other game that I've played so far had such a solid connection between the different, I guess, endings you could get,
Okay.
but still, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, and I don't want to give out
It's a
Undertale
unique
spoilers,
experience
but
to
the
just
game's
play
old.
it.
But it's like the way that the character storylines branch out, and how you determine how the story is, and you fight this character because you're playing the story this way or
You made
whatever.
this decision.
It was done really well, not revolutionary or anything like
And
that,
it's
but
a
just done
relatively
really well.
short story, but there's a lot
So,
of depth in it as well.
I'll say this: if it enters the Hall of Fame, I think it will have to be on a high merit of the fact that it was a game made by one guy.
Mhm.
And I think the innovation of the combat system will have to be there because,
Definitely.
yes, Lindy, the combat system is innovative. There's not another game like it. I'm
And I
sorry.
think the depth of the story and the consistency
Mhm.
of the world environment that was created. There's
Yes.
a lot.
I think those are the merits that will have to
Yeah.
go on it. I don't.
more so
it's,
what you mentioned.
I think yes,
first.
Lindy, it's debatable whether it should be on there, and yes, it's overhyped. We all
But
we
if-
all agree.
If
with
we're
that.
going to see an independent game on there, I can't think of a better.
I can't think of a better answer for independent games. At least
Iron
right
Bread.
now. Maybe later I can. I'll think about it.
No Iron Bread.
It's-
I was going to say The Binding of Isaac is one that I can think of.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I do remember you.
it's a good
saying.
game. It's not a life changing game.
So,
I don't think I don't think it has to be a life changing game to be on this list.
real
Because
quick on Binding of Isaac.
life changing is
It's-
personal.
It probably started or is like the best representative of the
New Age dungeon crawler.
Roguelike.
the trend of roguelike independent games now.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Mhm.
There's a lot of RNG based. There's a lot of depth and replayability. And take it away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Binding of Isaac honestly sort of set a precedent for indie game creators to sort of be able to put their ideas out there.
Mhm.
So I think that's, even if it as a game itself was not impactful in the gaming aspect of it, I think from a founder and creator of games standpoint, we're going to see a lot more games that we probably wouldn't have seen based off of that game alone.
You see, and I can see it.
Uh,
I probably would be
future.
on more of the no side. But I can see it.
I think it's at least something
It did a
to
lot for
consider, yeah.
It did a lot for roguelike games. It really
Yeah,
did.
If a roguelike is going to be on there, the Binding of Isaac's like
How about
the
Amnesia?
representative.
Oh, fuck yes, 100% Amnesia.
Oh god, that
for
started the
horror.
whole YouTube horror
For
trend.
horror
and-
games, yes, I could see Amnesia. No, it's not the OG horror game.
No.
It's not the best horror
It was one
game.
of the most impactful.
But
It was
I'd say it is the
psychological.
most impactful horror game.
yeah,
Like, sorry, even more than Slenderman. Like, By a lot.
Slenderman. I prefer the lore of Slenderman, not necessarily the game. It was
yeah,
But-
and I'm gonna fucking play through all of Amnesia on my Halloween stream and
Ooh.
Amnesia 2.
Yes.
So, spooky, scary skeletons. But yes, Amnesia. I think it could very well deserve a spot on there in terms of
You
its
got other
impact
games that have come
on
from
the
that.
horror genre.
Yeah,
I don't think it's not a fantastic game by any means. Like
it's
good.
definitely interesting.
It's
to
good.
me.
It's interesting, and it's not a life changing game. Amnesia did not change my life.
No.
I don't think you have to be a life changing game to be on here. It did a lot for the horror as a genre.
It captures your attention, and that was...
It did,
That was
and
the
it's,
point of
it's
it.
not even the OG
Dude,
horror game
and
by any means.
PewDiePie got
Oh
is
my
a
Jesus!
thing
Because of Amnesia.
He's done other things
So,
and have been successful.
all right, Amnesia's off the list.
Amnesia was his break.
It made PewDiePie.
Alright.
It's fucking off the list. I'm just kidding. He's fine.
Alright.
He's fine. I rag on him. He's rich.
He's got a really.
Lindy thinks he's sexy. She wants to bang him.
I like his personality.
he's
to be
got a
honest,
lot of money.
he's been.
He's got a lot. I
He's
like the
been
way
fairly
he just
modest.
kind of looked off in the distance. He's
okay,
got a lot.
so
of
for
money.
his success, and in his wealth, he's really modest about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For someone of his stature at this point, you see them and they
Hmm.
just seem so arrogant and esteemed with themselves, and he's still pretty down to earth.
Mhm.
He's still himself,
As
Relatively.
much as down to earth.
He's
as-
sex
as
with three
you can
X's.
be in that position.
Yeah.
You know,
I would
and-
agree.
Well,
And
Lindy,
I respect
I'm
that much about
I'm
him.
an open guy, and if you ever convince him, I will double team. I'm straight as they come, but still. I can appreciate his handsomeness. Also,
He's got a neat beard.
maybe I'd
These
have it
days,
in
I
and
know.
have access to
I
money.
noticed that.
I'm being a gold digger right now, but if you ever want to go for it and you get the opportunity, let me know. I'll join you. So,
Yeah, okay.
that's a good pause.
Sonic.
Let's go ahead and
Final
move
game.
on to
Hey,
the
okay, so
last entry.
Another arcade game here.
Arcade. It's motherfucking Space Invaders.
And fine, Space Invaders can definitely be
Space-
on here.
Space
There's room
Invaders-
for it, even though there's already Pac-Man.
You'd have to really have a pretty good grasp of the arcade industry as a whole in the 70s when this was released, with Pac-Man and everything.
And I don't think they should include things like Centipede or Asteroids
No,
at this
no.
point. They've filled the arcade slots of Space Invaders,
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Well,
Space
I just don't
Invaders
think there's
is-
room to include them because they're good games, but they were very impactful.
Well,
No.
that and they were
Just-
essentially Space Invaders predecessors.
See, I read a
They
thing.
were huge. They're iconic arcade games. They're big of that era. But I think
They
we
came
filled
after
the
this.
slots. We filled the slots with Pac-Man.
I read a thing, and I'll have to see if it's still true or not.
These are. More,
But I had read that Space Invaders has made, and obviously yes, part of it is because of how old it is. But I read that Space Invaders has made more money than any other arcade game in history
I
in
wouldn't-
terms of arcade, like.
I wouldn't doubt it in the
Now,
slightest.
how much money you've made is not directly indicative of how impactful or how great your game is.
No.
But for an industry that was as big as arcade games,
Dude, it sold on the Atari.
I
Like-
think,
That's cool.
I think the only game that might be above it would be Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man.
it'd be Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man. Now, I read that this was like 3 years ago that I read this. It's just I'm reminded of it because of this.
Yeah.
But
So at the
regardless,
time,
though, it's just like, how many fucking people have played Space Invaders? Everyone has.
Yeah.
at
Every
least know what
damn
it is.
person, or
Have
at
you
least
seen-
know what it is.
Or some
I think
sort
it was
of variant.
P. Diddy on some sort of talk show. Someone asked him a very obscure question about like, "Hey, what's the sound?" or "What is this image?" And he's like, "That is the alien of this level of Space Invaders." And he knew it. I think he was. I'm pretty sure it's P. Diddy. It could
So, I don't know. I can see this one being here. I'm not stoked about it for any reason.
No.
I'm not like,
personally.
oh my god, yes, Space Invaders is here. But at the same time, I can look at it and say, yeah, I think this
I
deserves
feel
It's
a
acceptable.
spot.
what happens including this has sort of concluded the arcade
Era.
era and the impact of arcade games on the gaming industry.
I think. Hold on.
I can't think of anything else that would be worthy.
I
of
think
including.
if there's one, I could see it concluding the arcade. I think if there's one more, and we already talked about it, it would be something like Street Fighter, because
An arcade
still
fighter.
did a lot.
Fighting
Still did
arcade
a lot for
games,
arcade.
Okay.
But I think that Street Fighter would be there more for the fighting game impact that it had.
Yeah.
But it's still considered arcade
Fighting
game.
games were on arcade, and there's modern arcade games now that are like that.
But
I mean,
none
like
of them
the
are-
OG.
None of them are
arcade
going to be there because of
era.
what they did for the arcade industry.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Street Fighter would be the last one I would say that. Yes, it's there for its impact on fighting games, but I think it's also would be there for its impact on the arcade genre.
Although-
it was in
There's
you know?
one other arcade game that sort of has made an impact on sort of its own genre, and that would be games like Time Crisis.
Okay,
Also,
yeah.
Ooh, so okay.
I think that's
we
a
can move on to
subgenre.
the modern arcades of the shooters.
I think
that were
it's
in arcades.
subgenre kind of for arcade
Yes,
because it's
absolutely.
more of a niche thing.
It's a different-
well, niche is the wrong word.
This it's just not the OGs
yeah.
of what arcades were
Absolutely.
in the beginning.
But yes,
And more
mother
modernized.
flippin'
You got your
Time
shooters
Crisis.
and yeah,
It-
those are great.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it's Time Crisis
It's a good
is
mention.
one of my favorite arcade games of all time.
Dude, it started the
if-
whole
if
thing.
for
of-
nothing
there's so
more-
many clones of you pick up this gun and your friend picks up the gun over there and you shoot stuff.
And every once in a
with
while, you're like,
screens.
haha, I'm killing
And
you.
like,
I'm so funny and clever. Yeah.
I agree with
So-
the Super Nintendo does belong in the hall.
Yeah, that is one thing I would like to see.
as a
Although
console-
that's one thing I
consoles.
think would be difficult because honestly, what fucking console are you gonna look at
that doesn't.
that doesn't?
Uh,
I mean, yeah, like we're not gonna fucking put the Jaguar on there, you know.
No.
But I'm saying, like, in terms of consoles we have now,
Yeah.
from now back to the NES, what console are you not gonna throw in the
Just
Hall of
the-
Fame?
Just put the Nintendo
the
Entertainment System.
handheld Sega. It's gonna be
Yeah,
one.
I know. I think if they were to induce
No.
consoles, we would have the NES,
Maybe the PlayStation 2.
And the PlayStation, it's just consoles. The NES, because it fucking, like, that's how you know that you can have consoles in your home. And then the PlayStation 2, because it is the best-selling video game console of all time.
100%.
Obviously,
that concludes the consoles.
And
Because
then
everything
handheld.
else is just...
Then we'd have handheld, and we would
Naturally,
throw
Game Boy Color.
We'd throw the Game Boy Color on there.
Color is...
I don't think just the Game Boy. I think Game Boy Color. Yes, I agree with that.
Go on.
Just because I think the color really, like, Game Boy was kind of like, oh yeah, it's possible. But then Game Boy Color was like, everybody was like, fucking Pokemon! Oh my god, I have a video game in my pocket.
Big.
Colors.
I'd really have to
That's your
think.
thing.
I'd really have to think about if the DS deserves to be on there. I could see it. I could see it.
That's a possibility.
I'd have to think about it.
It's relatively it's an evolution of the Game Boy. I think in its own right, it does belong there because it's the first. Here you can play with your friends online,
Yeah, you
kind
got
of
your touch screen, you got your whole interface, and I don't know.
So,
But
I would
that
say
one-
I'm
if
gonna
you're
go
one-
with the DS, maybe probably like DS Lite. I would say.
I would just say the original DS.
Yeah.
Just it kicked off. It was fucking
Kicked off
successful.
strong?
It didn't start off strong.
I
but
feel
if
like
you
it
look at the
kind of
history,
refined and concluded with DS Lite's like boom,
I will-
best DS.
let's be honest,
prior to- for 3DS.
they're all the same console.
It is. It is.
Like the only difference is DS, 3DS. So like DS Lite and DS, they're gonna have to be the same thing. So group them together.
Okay.
But in terms of consoles, if we're gonna put consoles on there, I think there would be 2 or 3 entries, and that's it. And it would be Game Boy Color, and you could go / Game Boy if you want, whatever.
'cause you could just include the OG.
DS / 3DS if we wanted to put them on there.
Yeah.
But then honestly, and maybe you'll hate me for it, and people will hate me for it. I think you have to throw mobile phones on there.
Yeah.
You have to. It's a mobile. That's not its purpose.
I
But you cannot.
think that's a unique
You
entry
cannot
on its
say.
own. Not as
cannot
a
say
console.
that mobile phones have not had an impact on the mobile gaming industry.
No, they definitely.
They are considered
It's-
mobile gaming. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm not a fan of
I
mobile
just wouldn't
phones
include it in
as
the
games.
categories of consoles. It's its own like.
It's a console. In the same way that the PC is a console. Now we're gonna have to throw the PC on there. So I see what you're
Master
saying.
Race.
I see what you're saying. Like it can have its own category, and
it's
I'd really
its
have to
own sort of
look
thing.
at it.
And it something like it deserves it. I mean, just
I don't know,
The,
I
the mobile
suppose.
gaming as a whole is like as something you can write to, and maybe it will more get that if VR is.
All I'm saying is you cannot deny that mobile phones have had an impact on the mobile gaming industry.
Just gaming in general too.
Yeah,
They've
gaming in
created
general.
micro in transactions.
Freemium.
And
I will forever regret that
console
happened.
games are following that trend.
I will forever regret
That
that happened.
sucks.
So we're not even talking about
But it is an impact.
something that had a bad impact can go in the Hall of Fame.
As it was a huge major event. in
Lord
gaming
Lord
industry.
Voldemort was a great man.
Terrible.
He was terrible, but great.
Yeah.
The thing.
Yeah, I just fucking went there with the
said
Harry
the
Potter
thing.
quote. So get off me, okay? So, anyways,
I'm waiting for my wife to comment that you mentioned Harry Potter.
oh, she
Just
will.
all exclamation points.
She will. Oh my god! But anyways, guys, that kind of wraps up the list. So let's recap real quick the official games that are in the Video Game World Hall of Fame.
Just from
We
first
have-
and second year so far.
We have Pong, Pac-Man,
Deserving.
Super Mario Bros, Tetris, Doom, World of
That's
Warcraft,
what it was.
Grand Theft Auto 3,
Told you.
The Legend of Zelda, Oregon Trail, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Space Invaders. Now, I will say this. I think the games that were inducted in the first year are much less debatable than the games that were inducted this year. I think it's really hard to look at any of the
First
games
year
in the
was
first
solid.
year
There's not
and
a lot
say
of room for
that shouldn't have been
anything else.
there.
Yeah.
So I think the first, but honestly, I'm fine with this year's inductees. Yeah, there's a couple that I could live without, you know.
There's
but
some that I could find replacements for very
I see
easily.
reasons for all of them.
Yeah. And
But I
I think for
understand
those
what
replacements,
they're-
will still find
Yes!
just a little bit later.
Slay him, daddy!
Yes.
Okay.
Yes! Another 5 hours of 3 good sirs. No, we
Yeah.
actually... Yeah.
No.
We are basically
Watch our
wrapping it
box.
up right here. But I think that was a really good conclusion.
Do you have like a one game that maybe wasn't up here that would be?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Just real quick.
Let's
'cause I know-
start. Let's start here. I have. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
start,
start with you.
We'll
We'll
give
go-
you guys a bit of
we'll
time.
go
I
Peter.
think Halo 1 is gonna eventually show up here.
I
Just as a
agree with
prediction. because...
And I think it deserves it.
It started the whole Halo franchise, which was a huge thing. It was like the first game to include the control scheme of you move with one character toggle, you look with the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one of the very first games that did that, and they did it well.
Stick.
Mm-hmm.
Twin stick.
Well, it wasn't the first, but it was
the first one that did
the
it
first-
really
It was the first
well.
thing that did well in that
Popularized
impact.
it.
Yeah.
And I think because of what Halo 1 did for that control scheme and just the Halo franchise in general,
paved the way for all current modern shooters.
I think
Absolutely.
that deserves a spot at some point.
Okay.
I actually just had a thought before I mentioned my game or game series.
Sure,
Without The Legend of Zelda on there, we would not have the Final Fantasy series because the first Final Fantasies were the same sort of.
They may have taken a bit of inspiration from that.
They were the same
they
sort
did
of
their own thing.
but in a different
There's a lot of same elements.
It was the first multi-character Legend of Zelda. That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
So,
And they
but,
invented the turn-based, so
Yep.
we're gonna see some kind of Final Fantasy on there. At
yeah,
some point, I'm sure.
and I think the series as a whole,
That's a good
up
point.
until 12, well, up until 13. So 12 and below. What is 13? 12 and below.
Indiana Jones 4? What?
How dare you?
There's
13
not-
wasn't
You
that
are a
bad.
sinner.
I'm sorry,
That is
I'm
a sin. I
There's-
think Final Fantasy 12 and below deserve their own rightful spot.
Well, god damn it, Shea. Now I have to think of another answer. All right, Final Fantasy X. Moving on.
Moving on.
No.
Bye.
I'm trying. Like,
Now you're on the spot.
I am on the spot. You freaking,
I'm
you
sorry,
asshole.
dude.
Stole-
you knew
you
I
stole
was
his
gonna
answer.
go there.
Yeah, it's back in school. We're just like
Okay.
you're raising your
Hold on.
hand.
No.
You're raising your hand, and someone right
Absolutely
before you
not.
gets called, it says your thing, and you're like,
Lightning Returns is like asking for 10 to
Okay.
be in the hall.
Okay. Because you took my answer, I was going to say Final Fantasy. I won't
Which entry do you
I won't
think?
include the full series. I would just say Final Fantasy 1.
one.
Yeah.
Just because it
Could be one.
laid
Could
the
be
ground.
7.
Well,
Seven
what?
as far as
7 was
like
the
revolutionary
3D,
games go.
It evolved the game, kind of like how Grand Theft Auto 3 did that
yes.
transition.
One laid the ground for RPGs as a whole, though. Really,
Yes.
it really did.
I
It
will
laid the
just-
ground and opened the door,
And for
which
that-
is why I say 1.
Maybe we'll see both.
So yeah, maybe I don't know.
Different reasons.
So I guess
yeah.
let me.
To be fair, I took 12
Did-
and below
and you're like,
because I
these are all
didn't
great,
want to over
and they
fanboy
could-
7.
Let me. Okay,
For everyone.
here's my answer. And the thing did state that it was in the running at one point, but it has not yet won. So Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pokemon as a series. I have to say Pokemon as a series, and the reason I think you can get away with that is because they're all the same game.
Yes.
They're all the same game with,
More and
mechanics and more
which
Pokemon
one
and stuff.
do you think had the most like impact? Is
Pokemon
it red
original.
and blue? Like,
Red- yeah,
OG,
red, blue, green.
probably
Red, blue, green, yellow.
Silver and Gold changed a lot of
No,
formula,
Silver and-
improved on it.
Silver and Gold are my favorite
and
Pokemon games
that's
of all
kind
time.
of what set it today as
But-
being like, this is the format we.
I think you
now
just have to do
use.
Pokemon as a series. I think you have to do it as
I
a
agree.
series. I don't think you can. I don't think you can do Pokemon individually because then you're just arguing semantics of
Well-
this Pokemon game had these specific
Okay.
features. It was the same
No,
fucking game.
I just mean like
I have
Red and Blue is the OG.
the input I have for Red and Blue being in there specific to the others is first handheld game.
Yes,
mod
I was
/bit
going to
glitch.
bring that. I was going to bring
That
that
was
up.
good.
Like not red, blue, yellow, green. Not
Yeah.
only because I don't even think they're the best ones in this series,
No.
but they have by far have been the most impactful because they impacted on 2 markets. They created an entire genre and perfected it.
Yeah.
No game has perfected the monster hunter
Yokai
capture.
Watch is on their heels, man.
But no game
trying.
has perfected it to the point. But
Their
the-
games have been.
But simply, it impacted on 2 fronts. It created and perfected a genre, and I'm flipping you off right now.
Cool.
We have handheld consoles because of Pokemon.
Yep.
You goddamn better believe Pokemon
And-
is the reason.
And
much, yeah.
first handheld console with any sort of glitch or mod that was just
You know,
Imploding.
whatever.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Pokemon,
red, blue, and yellow are the most, whatever.
Whatever. Pokemon is like the Mario of handheld games.
It is.
It is.
That's a
Really is. So that's why
a good point.
I really just don't think you can or should or have to make a distinction between the Pokemon games.
No.
You can have favorites between them,
Oh,
but to
yeah.
have multiple Pokemon entries in the Hall of Fame, I think it's redundant
It would be.
Yeah.
because none of them did anything
I do
separate
think-
that red, blue, yellow, green
None
didn't do.
of them did
Yeah.
anything new.
And what I was mentioning earlier is like if you're gonna try to pick one, Pokemon Red and Blue, well, we just decided was the Mario of handheld games. It's the reason why they were popularized and why
Yeah.
they've developed the way they did. So
Like-
maybe that.
One of my other favorite things about the originals was the D-pad changing colors up
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, I liked it. So
Uh,
I guess that has to be my
So
choice.
if
you know,
it was a single, but I think you're right.
It
As
deserves-
a series,
if I just have to
it's probably
pick
better.
one, like that's it because you took my Final Fantasy answer. But I guess I'm glad you did because Pokemon deserves the recognition, and obviously other people thought the same because it was nominated.
Yeah.
I don't
Ooh.
understand why it didn't
Sid
win.
Meier's
Easily,
Civilization. That's-
easily, I'll take a couple
very unique
games out
style
of
of
this
game.
list and put Pokemon in their place. Like,
Oh, hey, Street Fighter 2 is up on the.
yeah,
Okay,
but didn't
cool.
win. But didn't win.
Yeah,
alongside
not yet.
Pokemon,
I
which
think
is
it'll
like
be up there.
looking at this
It's
list.
gonna get there.
I say it gets there next year.
Looking at this list, I'm gonna
Next
take
year.
out Sonic and put in Pokemon because fuck Sonic.
Yeah, fuck so.
He's not that great. Sorry, Sonic. But so, and then I'm gonna take out Oregon Trail and put Street Fighter.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Absolutely.
Street Fighter.
That's how I'd augment this list for ones that were nominated but didn't win. So, but anyways, guys, I think that's a pretty solid point. We actually have gone over what we normally do for the show, amazingly.
That's
So.
wow.
I'm really
Welcome
glad that we
to
had this
the
discussion.
show. You fit in really
yeah,
well then.
Shea,
We
you're
planned on
an awesome guest
a
host.
shorter episode.
Even no matter how white he is, we'd still love to have you back sometime.
We're
And no
all-
matter how
yeah,
gay and married
well.
you are, we'll have you back again, man.
We're all of the pale skinned here.
But anyways,
That's just how
let's
it
finish
is.
off
That's who we
with
are.
Peter. We already know the answer, but what did you play this week?
Played a lot of Dark Souls 3.
Anything new or interesting to share with us?
I was disappointed with the plan I had, but I've got a new plan for PvP.
Mugen
So,
Monkey.
Mugen Monkey is going to help. It's going to make my life a lot easier.
Okay,
That's about it.
Shea, what did you play this
What did I
week?
play this week? As far as new that I've played, I picked up Enter the Gungeon because it's an Isaac predecessor, and I thoroughly enjoy that game, even though it's fucking hard as hell.
It is. It's absolutely hard, and it's one of those games where it's allowed to be hard. So that's cool. As far as what I played, obviously I played Dark Souls. I beat it, and I'm
Yes,
proud. Like if I have to tell you one thing, my big disappointment for Dark Souls, I think the last fight was a disappointment. I'm not going to do any spoilers.
I want to talk to you about that.
I was
What your thoughts are. That's all.
I was disappointed in the last fight. Not to be spoilers, but and maybe it was just me. I felt like it was too easy. I wanted some
okay.
big fucking huge conclusional fight. Atmosphere wise, last fight was fine, and I think it did what it needed to do in terms of storytelling without spoiling anything. But just it's
I have
fucking
so much
Dark
to
Souls.
say about just the last fights in Soul series as a whole.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say.
Because
about
I don't know
that.
if you guys know, but the Soul series is over. Like, officially, with the possibility of being rebirthed later. But,
We might see things like Bloodborne.
Well,
pop up,
Miyazaki
where it's
has
a different
officially said-
but it's a relatable game.
Miyazaki has officially said that, in his eyes, the Soul series is done.
and that's fine.
And that's
I'm
fine.
Okay with that.
But anyway, so I don't really think I played League of Legends a little, I guess. It was fun, okay, I guess. But I don't need to talk about League of Legends. Nobody cares.
Everyone knows about these.
It's not that great.
It's
But,
you know what?
so...
Why League of Legends really could find a spot on here too.
I think it
As
could.
just
MOBA.
being
MOBA.
the most successful,
MOBA.
most
It-
well-known.
It didn't
MOBA
invent
game.
It didn't invent the MOBA.
It's one
It's-
of the most successful.
It's hard to say
competitive,
that it
like professionally
yeah.
competitive games up there with like StarCraft. 2.
Speaking of Souls, the game is called Nioh, Nioh.
NIOH. Go look that up, you
Thanks.
beautiful
So
people.
We got the answer.
Ninja-
Neo,
Ninja-
NIOH.
Ninja Gaiden, Dark Souls, basically the same.
Cool.
So, it's gonna be down in the doobly-doos down here, guys. But Peter, if these beautiful people want to find you, where can they find you?
YouTube mostly. I Twitch sometimes with I put up highlights or sessions of my PvP of Dark Souls lately. Sometimes it's Pokemon PvP. Sometimes it might be something entirely different. I don't know. Lately it's been Dark Souls 3 PvP.
Shea, if these beautiful people want to find you, do you have any projects now, or do you plan on starting projects up in the future?
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get some equipment together and start a Twitch channel of my own. But
Okay.
if you want to just overall talk to me and you're on PS4 or PlayStation in general, you can add me there. Really stupid username because I created it
Go ahead and
back
type
in
it.
Nom.
Back in the days.
But,
Teach me, Peter. Fight me.
You know, not an IRL probably.
Anyways, what's the stupid username?
It's scene_kid_1992.
Scene.
Because once upon a time,
Better hope Lindy's not in here anymore.
I made that mistake
Oh,
back
it's
in
sort
high
of
school.
scene, and I'm sporting
yeah,
like one of the.
TRP.
They're
It was
they're
their
still-
second.
Yeah, I'm wearing the official most hardcore band shirt out of all of us in terms of actual hardcore.
Well, yeah, just do that.
So anyways, yeah. If you guys don't know, let me just introduce real quick. I kind of talked about it last week, but we have an official media partnership team called the Nerd Nest. That is down in the doobly-doos that way, this way, the one this finger is pointing, that way. Look at the logo down there. We have an official team of people that are just basically affiliated under one whole team in
We're all
Twitch
cool,
channels,
we
YouTube
create
channels,
stuff as
just
entertainers.
creative entertainment. So once Shea's stuff gets booted up and everything, I'm sure you can expect to find him down there. But if you want to check out any of us, including me, click on the Nerd Nest icon down in the doobly-doos down there, and a whole fucking list of us. But anyways, I stream Monday through Thursday.
He's regular. He's got a.
I am regular. I eat my Raisin Bran.
Boom.
I stream Monday through
He does.
Thursday,
He eats
11
old
p.m.
people's cereal.
Mountain Standard Time, and Sundays, aka tomorrow, we will be doing a giveaway. Do giveaways every Sunday, bitches. So be there, be square. But anyways, that has been us. Shea,
thanks
thank you
for
so
being
much
here.
for guest hosting with us.
Thank you for having me here.
Shea's wife,
Yeah.
thank you so much for guest chatting with us.
Thank you.
And dudes and dudettes, we're gonna see you on the flippy floppy, so you
Later.
better not forget who we is.
Nerds.
Boop-a-doo.